Why is the chat room unavailable?
You've been repeatedly referring to, for instance, Dr. Philip, the opposition, and so on, but both our major civil society parliamentary watchdog groups, NIA and JAMP, have also taken issue with the recommendation, saying they don't think the reasons that have been given stand up to scrutiny and that the Auditor General is better on or off. Have you taken note of those concerns?
With due respect, I think they're ill-informed and not only ill-informed, but again, I mean, when I see NIA talking about tyranny, I just dismiss it totally. Because how can the removal of the Auditor General be a matter that is tyrannical? And I didn't see any comments from JAM, but I don't know why this is being made an issue. I think it's just been made a political issue because of the season we're in. And it just shows, with due respect to the civil society, where they stand, they want it to be a political issue. It is not a serious issue. Removing the Auditor General, and as I say, put it as one category, a chartered accountant or a senior attorney at law, because at the moment, to the best of my knowledge, we have had a chartered accountant, Eric Crawford, who served, was a chartered accountant, and at the moment, I think we have a retired banker, who I understand is also a chartered accountant. But we can make it definitive that a chartered accountant should be one of the commissioners.
Isn't there a danger, though, when, for instance, listening to what you just said, listening to what some of your colleagues have said, an attempt to undermine and discredit civil society groups simply because they don't agree with government positions, because that's what that sounds like.
With due respect, they discredit themselves. I don't have to discredit them. What they say, how they say it, discredits them. And that is why I really respond to the civil society group. Unfortunately, I have been part of it in the past, but in these days, there are no civil society groups. They're really political groups, with due respect.
Listen there to Justice Minister Delroy Chuck talking about the criticisms of the government members' vote on the Joint Select Committee overseeing the review of the Integrity Commission Act. They have voted to remove the Auditor General from the Integrity Commission. We did ask the opposition members on the committee to talk to us. They both declined. They're on record, however, as not supporting the vote. Let's take the break when which is Bishop Christine Gooden Ben-Gouche. The JCC did issue a statement earlier today on this matter, calling for this recommendation not to be implemented. And we have with us as well Daniel Archer, Principal Director of National Integrity Action. And we thank you both so much. We appreciate you talking to us. And Daniel Archer, let me start with you. The Justice Minister is saying, in my opinion, in mind, because all you're coming at it from a political angle, he says.
You know, when I heard you say that, I could only think of the reality that I stand on the shoulder of somebody like Marcus Garvey, who was deemed an enemy of the state for promoting the rights of Black people. History vindicated him. I'm sure history will vindicate the many civil society groups here in Jamaica, because it is the norm for government and political actors to discredit civil society, to weaken scrutiny when they're on track to becoming an authoritarian entity. Globally, civil society organizations frequently encounter such accusations when they expose corruption or advocate for human rights. So I have no difficulty with him disregarding us, but I will tell him and tell all persons who believe that all civil society groups in Jamaica are merely political actors. Simply because people don't agree with you doesn't mean that you are to castigate them as being a political entity or that they're biased because you refuse to listen to what they have to say. Our job and our mission is to...
Morning, viewers and listeners. Seeing some difficulties here with the chat room. Trying to sort that out because I know that my listeners and my viewers always want to participate in the chat. Can't figure out why we're not seeing the chat room this morning. So I'm working on that. Just give me a few.
Mr. Chuck, as a justice minister, ought to know that. And he's quite aware that when political groups are biased and they hold a political aligned position, then they're happy with that. They're certainly not happy with those who oppose them. And we will continue to hold their feet to the fire when they fail to keep their promises or when they fail to do things that hold their governments accountable. That's my answer to Minister Chuck.
In relation to the issue of tyranny, the story that was carried in the Gleaner, I think it was earlier today, Mr. Chuck says he doesn't see how this particular development could be regarded as being tyrannical. How?
And I will say to Mr. Chuck, let's have a look at your pattern. Let's look at the things that your government has been doing. You promised an impeachment bill, but when it was convenient, you said it wasn't relevant. You promised that you were going to be able to hold your own persons accountable for corruption, but rather than doing that, your leader has taken the Integrity Commission to court. We are going to put it on record. You have yet to provide us with a code of conduct. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs had indicated that it was going to be presented once the cabinet. We haven't seen it. So you don't want anything that holds you accountable. When civil society groups call you out, you say they are biased. You scrutinize people who call you out and who oppose you. And there are a litany of things that you have closed the doors on because you refuse to have the public understand. Where is the review for the, what we call it again, that particular act that allows us to get information? You were to review that, but you didn't do that. You promised to repeal the Official Secrets Act. You didn't do that. You're spending all your time tearing down the Integrity Commission only because you have members of parliament who are implicated for illicit return and you do not want them scrutinized. Are you really going to tell me that you're not moving towards a tyrannical regime?
Let me bring in Bishop at this point because Bishop, the Justice Minister, said that this is not a serious issue. He says removing the
about not having enough money to pay the Integrity Commission, but we have enough money to pay the parliamentarians who refuse to provide a code of conduct. We find money for what we need to find money for. And using that as an excuse, they already know that I'm lazy and an escape route to being able to destroy the Integrity Commission.
So you were listening there to an interview done with Dean Jackson Miller as it relates to the removal of the Auditor General from the Integrity Commission. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show for yet another Saturday morning. This Saturday morning, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Lot of things. And as I said earlier, I'm not seeing the chat room. So I am actually trying to get the chat room up. So a little bit distracted right now because I don't understand why we don't have the chat room up this morning. However, if you have a message and you want to send that to me, you can also WhatsApp me at 876-804-7072. That's 876-804-7072. You can WhatsApp me at that number while I still try to work on the issue we are having here as it relates to the chat room. A couple of things have been going on, and from Tuesday I've been saying to my listeners and viewers and to those people who are out there talking about East Portland but have no knowledge of what is happening on the ground in East Portland. I've been saying to them, since I live in East Portland and I don't know what is happening, I am asking you all to call me and tell me about the good things that are happening in East Portland. We have a call. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Colin. Quickly, I know you just started to talk.
Yeah.
But I want to say this first. I see it, let me tell you something. It's about a lot of these persons, even these member of parliament and speakers, have the knowledge and the love and fear of their constituents like you. Honestly, let me go to a better place because what I was interested when this person in Nebula called, you were so up to date, you were so informed that you could have told him the things, and these are the things that and this is one of the reasons why I always listen to you. Because when you come out to Portland, it's like me would want to come and overseas, and I would have want to come up Portland. Because, you know, you can be easy, and these are the things that I appreciate of the person who is knowledge of where they are, and I understand that the people, the passion that you have, I can understand why some professors will kind of disagreement with you, because maybe they're going to start and then you're just moving on to a place.
You're breaking up. Maybe they are what?
I was saying that maybe
Hold on for me. Hold the line, my brother. Good morning. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Just hold the line for me. I'm coming right back to you. Just hold on.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I was saying that maybe we move on to a better place. We're working in one accord for the betterment of the people. But I want to tell you, keep on fighting that fight for that, because there's a lot of persons who's not living in Portland appreciate the way you pronounce yourself to persons who try to distract you from what is going on and let it look like it's a YouTube where this person is doing everything when there's nothing of the sort.
All right, my brother.
That person just come on the state media to create their narrative to people. And one question I want to ask them, is this their message not reaching? You realize, let me tell you what they are doing. Because the PNP message is so reaching, they are coming to the free speech platform. Sometimes I wouldn't listen to them because they have their own platform. But let me tell you why. It's the undecided people start to change their narrative now towards the PNP. If you look at the last poll when people, it did not go to the JLP. It goes back to the undecided. Now the undecided, so they are coming to the free speech platform, people like you and others, to try to see if they can garner support with their false narrative. Keep on doing the good work.
Well, no false narrative now go run over us, so because we are knowledgeable, and where we don't have the knowledge, we seek expert to come in and clarify to the people.
Definitely.
All right,
we are going to answer the undecided, which is not going that way.
Blessings, one love. 876-804-7072. Thanks for holding, sir.
Yeah, man. I just decided not to call.
Talk to me.
Pertaining to the political thing on this ruling party that is in the country, with its willing to corruption and cover up. And believe me, I've been wondering if it is possible for us to get overseas help. To get overseas help for what? In terms of investigating the corruption seriously, that as far as nothing is going on, and the person who supposed to prosecute are not doing anything.
We are listening.
Yeah, so this really knows that there's too much challenge. When our time for our still playing our corrupted role.
Who playing corrupted role?
In terms of, if this lady almost is a part of the corruption team, that's why they start back over and over.
Who you talking about? I don't know which lady you're talking about.
Paula Llewellyn.
Paula Llewellyn?
Yeah.
But Paula ain't no corruption. What kind of corruption you have, Paula?
Well, when you say corruption, you understand what I'm saying. If this is the same lady supposed to prosecute cases that sent to her from the top here. Put the name again now. That dealing in investigation and do them finding and send it to her and no prosecution can't take it.
Well, it depends, you know. It depends.
Yeah.
Because if she look at the cases and she don't see a reason for prosecuting that case, then what you want her to do?
Well, I want to tell her something. We are not stupid. But I tell her something. She will never see a reason to prosecute any of these things.
Me now go share your, me now go agree. Well, also we have to be careful how we voice certain opinion.
Okay.
We also have to be careful
Yeah, man.
how we voice certain opinion.
We are not stupid, you know?
You don't trust, you don't trust her.
Eh?
You don't trust her.
No, there's nothing there to trust. Why you think we bring her back a third time, my part?
Well, you see, we suspect the government. I don't suspect Paula. Because the government might believe that Paula might not prosecute some simple things. But they also might be wrong.
Well, the evidence not find that we understand.
The evidence now point that way there.
No, you don't find that we there. Otherwise, more than exactly what we are.
Well, Paula time up is when she leave. August. Paula leaves August. And if the Jamaican people want to ensure that this Jamaica Labour Party put another Dennis Chung to be director of public prosecution, we have to vote them out.
Yeah, we must see them because we are.
All right, sir. And you hear Delroy Chuck.
Yeah.
You hear Delroy Chuck's arrogance saying that civil society are partisan. Once you don't agree with the GLP, you are either bad mind or you're partisan.
Yeah, man. Once you talk about the thing what we look
yeah, man. I don't know what is wrong with these people. How they believe that they alone have all the answers.
Yeah.
Nobody else have any answer.
I've never voted my life.
You never voted yet?
Yes, this
your first polling station.
Yeah, man, you have to. You have to think about this month.
And I am sure there are a lot like you that will be voting for the first time to ensure that Jamaica does not become a dictatorship.
How the mother of the country want to talk 2 minutes, 1 minute. Our people start to see everything and stuff. Our you repeat when back.
Nats? I'm getting a warning, connection unstable. There are this argument. Eh? Yeah, man, the chat room not working. And when I check all my chat currently unavailable, and then I just get a warning that the internet is unstable. So my people, when you're looking at they have one system called the Pegasus. But thanks, caller.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna put some things out. We're gonna put some things out here this morning. And then at about 10 o'clock, we're gonna be talking to Dr. Kenneth Russell. Because a lot of our children are leaving primary school unable to read or write, and it is an indictment on our government. Yeah.
Never interest you keep the people.
Keep the phone in your mouth. You're going in and out. Keep the phone. All right, my brother. The connection not so nice. So listen to me. All right. All right. So, my people, these people, I'm going to call the labor right them, because I'm not afraid for them come over here. So one run come over here Wednesday and get all like teeth them lick out. He's supposed to that dentist now. I put in teeth. So call all of the labor right, vlogger them on TikTok All of them. Tell them to come challenge with argument. It's argument. You see the first one come and try challenge argument. All I teach then gone a ground. Come in and who can tell me about East Portland. But let's get back to the Jamaican economy. And I want to call the Prime Minister. I'm going to call Ralston this morning. Because Marlon Morgan claims that everything when we talk come off a Ralston book. And I am not afraid or ashamed to say I have maximum respect for Ralston Iman. Because I have never heard anybody challenge his numbers and say that they are wrong. But me have my own opinion. And Ralston I'm a teacher, one of my teacher. But me have critical thinking. And I have been listening to the news, and I have been listening to this argument that the economy is not in a recession, because if the economy in a recession, people will be losing jobs. People are losing jobs in Jamaica. And our companies are failing. Let me talk to Pringle before we start getting us some clip for me have to play. What go on, Pringle?
Man,
Where are some man?
you have me something now. The last time I talked to you,
Yeah.
they asked you if the PNP and look observe for the election.
And I said yes. International
Yes.
international observers to come in to observe the election. And I'm going to spill a little of the beans because we are putting some cameras in place at some critical areas too. Because people are going to go to jail. People who are sell them vote are going to go to jail too. Because vote selling and vote buying is illegal.
Right.
So we are make certain we are set up for it because we have to see it, we have to rescue the country. Go ahead.
What me get me understand the PNP by vote too.
Well, me not have no evidence for that.
Me not really believe that. Me know so no broke.
Where the backside we get money from to buy vote.
Well, I don't know, but that's what them say. Anyway.
Well, if you listen to the Prime Minister, you know, anytime you hear the Prime Minister cuss PNP about something and say PNP are this, just check him background and he's exactly the same thing what him say. Just check him. Him say PNP are grown and make promises. Just check the amount of promises he might make. Talk to me.
Know that. Tell me now, the finance minister, opposition finance man,
Yeah.
and the leader of the opposition. A lot of time we hear them make some speech. Before that, let me ask you, if you know what do good, you do good, right?
Yes.
So why is it when Mark Golden and the opposition finance man are making a speech against things where the Labour Party say were not right, they have to say they knew better. They know that they knew better. How that go?
I don't know. Sometimes I think we are pet them on here, you know. Sometimes I think we pet them. I'm going like,
That's
you know.
what I'm asking myself.
Yeah, man.
How can you, a man that say something wrong or lie?
And you're nice it up.
And nice him look like you apologize to him.
Yeah.
He know better. You know that he knows better.
Man, they
You
don't
don't
know.
understand the argument.
The man they don't know no better. Them don't know no better. The man them a set of crooks.
He knows that the man them know better.
That's the man them is a set there a set
Look
of
it now.
crooks.
You
Shout
see
to
to him, PNP counts where them charge.
Yeah.
Why them charge them?
The man them never filed them statutory filing. And they got an opportunity to sort it out. And them never take the appropriate position.
So tell me now, if you was the leader of the PNP, what you done with them?
If him do what?
Suppose you was the leader of the PNP, what you done with them two councillors?
That's sanction them, man. That's sanction them. Because I can tell you
You suspend them.
Well, you can sanction them in the party, but NEC will be next week's, will be not Sunday coming, the next Sunday. So we'll hear what actions will be taken against them. Because what I can tell you, see, even after the local government election, the secretariat of the party constantly write to us, reminding us that you must submit your filings from your spending of the election. So I know the party keep reminding us to do the right thing. So I don't know them get caught up in that, brother. I really don't know.
But they never do the right thing, so you have them boss, so you don't get if you pick them.
Then you
tell them if you do sit by and do it. What you do with him? And this is a form of embarrassment.
Major embarrassment to us. Yeah, we don't like it. Because you know PNP, we don't like corruption. We don't like we don't like incompetence, because some of that are incompetence.
If I'm me, you run them with.
Well, you can't run them as councillor, but I guess some actions will be taken.
All right. All the while, we tell you, one of the most careful when you make speeches.
Yeah, man.
Redefine prints. The opposition finance man will make speech, and then they must be apologize. One must stop it.
We have to be careful.
A lot of time this thing has been going on. One time I call and tell them what it's,
Yeah, man, that's true, man. But Pringle.
One time, I know keep doing the same thing.
Well, people are people, and people who are going to make mistakes, but we have to be careful not to make any more mistakes and to get rid of this wicked and uncaring government, my brother. Thank you.
Anyway,
we talk.
You have to really play the politics of the Labour Party are playing. I'm telling you all the while.
Yeah, we can't ramp with them.
If you don't play politics of them up here, you better go work man church. Because you are not even like some good person.
All right, sir. I hear you. Thank you, Pringle. Yeah, but me not see it, so that's why I'm telling you to check it so that we can see it from somewhere else. So that we can see some of the chat. So the people in the chat room, I get to understand that you are up and well, happy. Not seeing you, but I'm going to sort it out. No, as I said to you, I want to get in some beating of Andrew Holness. Because me I use the whip for Andrew and Faval this morning. They said the economy is doing well. It's not in a recession. I want to play this clip here from RGR. I've been listening to the financial reports and listen the amount of companies in Jamaica that are losing money. Listen to this, my people.
The net profits of Spurtree Spices tumbled to $12 million on revenues of $336.4 million during the 3-month period ended March 31. This compared with net profits of $28.2 million on revenues of $394.5 million during the corresponding period last year.
Caribbean Assurance Brokers is reporting a net loss of $98.5 million for the financial year, which ended on December 31. This represents a sharp decline when compared with the $123.5 million profit recorded during the previous financial year.
There was a complete reversal of the net profits of VM Investments $510 million during the first quarter of last year to a net loss of $32.5 million during the first quarter of this year. Revenues for the review period this year amounted to $542 million, compared with $880.5 million during the similar period last year.
Foster's group of companies has reported an unaudited net loss of $68.6 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2025, compared to a profit of $33 million in the corresponding period last year. This translated to a loss per share of 1 cent, reversing the 1 cent profit per share achieved a year earlier.
The net profits of Spurtree Spices.
All right, so you hear those that already. No, listen, that is not half of the amount of companies where lose money yet, We're saying in our chat room now.
All right. So you get carried away because of the internet and all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
So C. Fisher is reminding you, Psalm 1, you did not start this morning.
Yeah, man, me say it, but me never say it at the beginning. Yeah, man, and if you never hear it, let me say it again. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. So you hear a list of the companies in the first quarter that are not prospering. And they said the economy is doing well. But you think of just that? If you don't think of that, you don't make a sad mistake. The amount of company where I lose money at Jamaica, no normal. Hold on. That one the too long. Not this. Not this. Not this one. This one. This one.
Companies and investors want to know why and you know that they're looking at these things.
Why is so much company losing money? Call the labor rights, them make them come tell we.
Although in the investment industry, you know, we continue to tell customers that you do not lose. You've never even, you know, a company has lost.
They're conscious of their paper value, so they say.
But they're conscious of the paper value. So you know, you tell them that you only lose when you actually sell, but they're still very conscious of the paper value. And I mean we're humans, and you know, we our thoughts, and you know, worse when one would look at the industry and you know,
share up the live, like up the live, people.
We have to do a regular research and regular analysis of short, medium,
hold on, hold on.
And you know, when we look at pre-COVID and then what's happened after COVID, and then seeing what is happening now, so their cause for concern. So you know, I'm just going to look on some of the results for the period. We look on, you know, for March 31st. One great cedar company. They have made in their prior reporting for March 31st. They would have made last year a net profit of 10.27 million. For the March 31st this year, they made a loss of 13.36 million. Right? We look on Elite Diagnostics, right? They have made, you know, when we look at it, 24 months net profits, so they would have some changes. We look at Salada Foods, March 31st. All these that we're looking at is at the end of March 2025. We look at Salada Foods, their profit has declined by some 10%. You know, they would have made 98.76 mil this year. It's 88.82. We look at the Simco Group, very large company with, you know, is in all types of manufacturing, distribution, and so on. We see their profit last time around was 3.95 billion. Their March 31st this year is 3.46 billion, so 12% decrease. We look at the Honey Bun last time around, you know, we see their profit was 167. They would have decreased by some 28% now to 121.24. We look at the Sephard. Sephard was 1.20 billion last time, reduced by some 29% to 849.92 million. We look at the Dolphin Cove, and we know Dolphin Cove is having some problems. Yes, right. So naturally, we know that this, you know, would result in net profit decreasing or so. So we look at them last time there were 1.38 million net profit. Now it's gone down to 859,290. That's a 38% decrease. Yeah, we're looking at big company, huge companies with Ventures. The last time it was 855.92, reduced to 515.62 million. That's a 40% decrease. We look at Jamaica Fiberglass products. Profit was 3.80 million last time. Now down to 474,601. That's a 88% decrease in net profit. So when we look at it,
Is it Mr. Metrosian that the CEO of that company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we will leave it there. Yeah, I know why that particular question, but we'll leave.
All right. So you hear the amount of companies in Jamaica that are losing money. So Wednesday evening, a labor right caller said that it's bad management why all those companies are losing money. Imagine. Let me tell her, the economy is in a recession. The PIOJ come to us spewing, to use Simon Kraskill word, a bag of bollocks. A lot of horse manure. It is starting that of the authorities and the numbers. And a whole heap of things the government talking are rubbish. Because you know what happened? They cannot talk to us about accurate numbers until we get the population census, the population census done. The population census Jamaicans have not been done. This government continue to show incompetence. $4 billion and the census no do. Hello? What is happening with the census? The Prime Minister running from interview. I have not heard a proper interview with the Finance Minister since she come in. Let me take a call now. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, sir.
Please turn off the instrument in your background. You're going to get a terrible feedback from the delay from that. Talk to me.
Let me just sit still.
All right.
First time caller.
Blessings, man. Welcome and don't stay away.
Program still.
Respect and thanks. You subscribe to the channel?
As we listen, man, we are learning, we're not just, you know what I mean?
Me say if you subscribe to the channel.
Listen that. But my question, yeah, man, long time.
All right.
I always share the thing then.
Respect.
My question is now, for example, I listen to the thing about Dolphin Cove.
When gone? Come back, Peter.
No, for example, with Dolphin Cove and Portland, you see, in terms of like tourism and them something in Portland, me feel as if the people and kind of gravitate to the smaller business them in terms of certain things. So the big established company, now go make the work of money they used to make. I might analogy that still. So me just ask.
No, Dolphin Cove.
See big rise.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so me see big rise in terms of like the smaller business them, for example, over Portland. Because right now, me there foreign and all, but
yeah,
at Jamaica me live. And how me see people are gravitate to it in terms of like the natural resources. Dolphin Cove and them big company ever get licked. I'm wanting to get licked up. Because they make millions go long now. Some point the swing go other side. So me analyze it still.
No,
so
but
don't know.
No, everybody can coexist. Everybody can coexist. And if those big companies start losing money, it means smaller companies are going to lose money. Because those big companies employ a lot of people. And anytime companies start losing money, what they are going to do is start laying off people. I can guarantee you that.
Yes, but yes, if this level start making more money now. So you see, say for example, more people are going to be there.
Who start making more money?
More smaller people establish business more. They're more independent. Like when me grow,
brother,
just depends on cash back.
Let me tell you something what you have. Let me tell you what is happening. I think How would you do on tune? Half point cost of living getting higher, more sellers than buyer. If you realize what is happening is that everybody getting in the consumption business, everybody are trying to sell something. Everybody are trying to hustle, sell 2 rug, sell 2 banana, sell, everybody are trying to sell. So that is a problem in the economy, my brethren. We're not doing enough production. People don't have money, so everybody have to try to set up a business. And when you check it out, just give them a little time. 3-4 months, them out of business. Because them have to eat from the little profit rate they make.
Me come from a little small village. Like you must like when you know like Pelican Bar. You know that place down at St. Elizabeth.
Yeah man, I know Pelican Bar. I've stopped there.
You see the smaller business them turn around that little bar there.
Yeah.
You will be amazed how much small business profit from the just a little small establishment there. The one at St. Elizabeth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we won't surround it. You have to have like 1, 2 people put up some little restaurant. So me feel as if the big company them I gotta take a lick. And you know to them more low them all cry because them now make them building and use some lick. But and look when they come with them some small people put up some little thing and they must survive. You know what I mean?
Well, let's see how long they'll survive for.
Yeah, hopefully they survive here, but
I hope so too.
Let's be up, you know what I mean?
Yeah man, one love my brother. Thanks for the call.
We'll continue the good forever.
Yeah man. 876-804-7072. We're taking your calls, and I'm still waiting on somebody to call me and tell me about the great works of the East Portland Member of Parliament, because me I telling you, she's not doing one damn thing around here. Fixing a few road and dancing on it, creating a persona on social media, rubbish. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Yeah, blessing, Colin.
I'm good in a wagwan.
Yeah, but you know, I'm looking at it now. In this time, Jamaica really gonna need a good leader.
Yes.
We're going to need a good leader.
Yes.
And if that leader cannot be Andrew Holness.
Come on, Andrew Holness days finish. Yeah. Andrew Holness need to go clear him name. Andrew Holness is under investigation for illicit actions. He needs to clear that.
Yeah, definitely. And when I look at it also, this if he should remember, he's showing signs, not just signs, he's showing everything that he's a breaker of the Constitution.
Yeah, man.
And this man should get the opportunity to say, select the president. Just imagine that. He's between people everywhere one. Just imagine if he get the opportunity to president.
He's what you call a serial breaker of the Constitution.
Yeah, he's running riot on the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
You know, so basically we cannot have him as our leader, and that is why we need a Mark Colin in the cabinet office, because I mean a man who is, it has said, who know the Constitution and can write laws, and he's good at that. We need somebody, but not just that, somebody who will uphold the Constitution, because you can't remember, you need somebody who can protect the people from the government.
Somebody who will stick to the oath that they take to uphold and defend the Constitution, my brother.
Yes, of course, that's what we need. And he shows that, because look at how he fight for the people in the courts and winning all these cases for the people. We cannot trust this JLP government, not 1 minute. They are not reliable, and they are liars. We cannot trust them. And my next thing is that if you look at how the world is going now, the world is in chaos. So that is why you need a stable leader. And stable leaders are hard to find these days.
Yes.
Because it's not like every leader get mad nowadays. That's all we say. Every leader get mad. Yeah, we need a stable leader and a person like a man who is very quiet and have a love for the people. You know, that is what we need in Jamaica. And I pray, and I hope, and I believe that Jamaica people will elect Mark Colin, and so that Jamaica can find back itself in the rightful place with dignity and with pride. People can look up to Jamaica and see Jamaica as a leading island in the Caribbean and in the world also. So
Thank you, my brother.
I need. Yeah, man.
Thanks for the call. Much appreciated. 876-804-7072. You know, for those of you who did not hear, Wednesday evening, a little man running, same one, defend the member of parliament for East Portland. And me telling you, same get all and teeth them lick out. I don't think him a listening show now because he's supposed to be a dentist. Let me bring it to you. Blessings. Good evening and welcome.
Hello, Colin. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
I hear you asking anybody want to talk to you about it.
Kojak.
Yes, man.
Wagwan.
Me just concerned about this program and the execution because we tell you, to work in a demon election.
Kojak.
Yeah.
You see that issue there?
Yes, Ali.
You see that issue there?
Yeah.
Call me
Yeah.
off the year and we discuss that issue, all right? Not an issue. It's
Yeah,
not an issue I want to discuss on here. Thank you. 804-7072. Good morning. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Yeah, good morning, Colin.
Yes, sir.
Morning, this is Marlon.
Marlon, I am happy that you called me this morning.
Not as happy as I am.
Okay.
Sure of that.
Well, you called, so I will allow you to go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Are you aware of the in excess of 40,000 businesses and closed down as a result of the PNP's mismanagement and gross dereliction of duties in the 90s and 2000s?
Well, the PNP lost the election. Maybe those are some of the reasons why they lost.
So you're so aware that that is the PNP's legacy.
I am not.
Destruction.
I am not aware of that as the PNP legacy. But what I will say to you, the PNP would have lost the election in 2007. And there must be some reasons why the PNP would have lost. And the people chose a Labour Party government to fix the issues of the wrongs then that you would have said that the PNP did.
Would you agree with me? Would you agree with me that for persons conducting business, right, new taxes is essentially bad news to them? Would you agree with me?
It depends.
If you are conducting a business,
but you have had no new taxes
of any kind is levied on you, that it is essentially bad news for you as a business operator. Would you so agree with me?
Oh yes. But you have had
because I want to get into the fundamental and substantive reason for the call. Time and again, it is proven to me that if the little superficial analysis thrown out by Ralston will leave you guys, surrogates like yourself and the disciples of his like yourself, he will leave you up a stream without a pattern. Now, let me be very clear, first and foremost. The government of Jamaica wants businesses to thrive, businesses to flourish, and businesses to do well. Do you agree with me, Colin, that what the government is responsible for is creating an enabling environment for businesses to do well? Will you talk about it?
Yes, I will agree with that. Definitely. Governments are responsible.
So what's the Let me give an example.
Marlon.
Sure, go ahead.
Marlon, you want to pay me for a certain amount of time and me allow you alone to talk because if
no,
we have a
dialogue,
yeah, man, so make we have a dialogue.
Yeah.
I'll allow you. Continue.
All right. You and one of the callers cited Dolphin Cove a while ago. Dolphin Cove is an attraction. People come from foreign for the most part and come patronize the people and places. See? There's no doubt that Dolphin Cove, like many other stakeholders in the tourism sector, would have been adversely affected by the travel advisory. What has since happened in relation to how Jamaica fares from a U.S.
Hold on, Marlon.
Sure.
Did anybody in your government say that those travel advisory would not affect us?
My brother, travel advisory, just like new taxes to a government, to a business rather, is not good news. So we can be agreed on that. No,
man,
there may be commentators who made the point and expressed the view
not
that
commentators. Marlon, the question I ask you, did anybody from the Andrew Holness-led administration say that those travel advisory were not affecting us and would not affect us?
They are making reference, Colin, to the degree of adverse impact. In other words, Jamaica's tourism product is robust and strong. We still have considerable numbers and healthy outturn, but relative to what it could have been and what the projections would have been, the travel advisories did not put Jamaica in a good position. In fact, it puts us in a precarious position.
All right, continue.
We don't have to speak through tears on that. But just to come back to the key point I'm trying to make. What you have to measure government against, Colin, are the things that are within the, not just the gift of government, but in the remit of government to do something about so that businesses fare better in their operation. So, for example, if travel advisory cause people to be losing business, then government has to fix the crime problem, and government has been doing that. I'm sure you will agree with me that there has been a 44% reduction in murders, and this is following the 8% reduction in murders in 2023 and the subsequent 19% reduction in murders in 2019. And year to date, we are on course to be our murder rate in half.
Slow down. In 2019 or 2024?
In 2024, my apologies. 2024, a 19% reduction. Because you remember, the very place you're speaking from now, the man who is wanting us to elect him and his government so that he can be National Security Minister got robbed of the only National Security Minister in the history of Jamaica.
Marlon.
Can't even secure himself.
Marlon.
But yet he's purporting to secure the rest of us.
Marlon.
Yes, sir.
Explain to my listeners
why
so many companies are losing money in Jamaica.
Now, losses in relation to net profit, downturn in sales, and all of that, Colin, is part of the vagaries of what is called the business cycle. Ross and Iman will tell you and will confirm that in the business cycle, my brother, you have ebbs and flows. And you have ebbs and flows.
I am putting it to you.
Hold on, let me just complete the thought now, Colin. Let me complete the thought. You have ups and downs, listeners, as a result of things that you do and have control over, and things that you have no control over. They're called exogenous shocks.
All right, let me tell you. Hold on, Marlon. Hold on, let me tell you. Let me tell you before you go any further. I have an interview at 10 o'clock. But I'm putting it to you that these businesses are losing money because Jamaica is in an economic recession.
And I'm putting it to you, my brother, that we're entitled to our own opinion. But not an
opinion. I also want to put something to you. I also want to put something to you. That the PIOJ...
Before you do that, though, and it's the same point I'm making. Whenever the PIOJ comes out with a briefing, and then you have the BOJ or statin coming out subsequent with another briefing, the variance between the numbers are not material. They're not far off.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
That the PIOJ came out recently,
explain,
and then what the statin will be coming out with.
Explain this to me. Explain this to me. Explain this to me. Either Wayne Henry or Andrew Holness is a liar. Tell me which one of them is the liar. Last month, hold on, man. Hold on. No. Marlon, I don't ask the question yet. The question is, on the 20th of March, in the speech of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, he put up a graph that says poverty is at 12. Listen, Marlon. Listen, let me finish and you answer, brother.
Sure, go ahead.
He said on the graph, it says poverty for 2023 was 12.3%. 2024, 12.1%. Then the POJ came a couple of weeks ago and tell us that 2023 poverty was at 8.2%. Who is lying?
My brother, let's be very clear. On the bottom of that graph that the Prime Minister referenced in his contribution to the budget debate, you saw a source cited. It said
POJ.
Let me just finish the point I'm making up this. It says PIOJ and the World Bank estimates. That is the instructive point. So I'm pointing out to you and for the benefit of the listeners. PIOJ and World Bank estimates. No, we don't need to split hairs. what is very clear is that the poverty stood at 16.7% in 2021, and by the time you got to 2023, based on the latest data set, poverty has been cut in half. It's down at 8.2. Instead of begrudging that, Colin, I'm imploring you to be happy for your Jamaican brothers and sisters. Some of them are domiciled there in Portland, where you are broadcasting from this morning. Be happy for your brothers and sisters, whether they wear green shirts or orange shirts.
I would be happy, Marlon, I would be happy for them if the 8.2 was the truth. But this government is continuing to tell us a lie. Another lie I want you to clear up.
All right.
Dr. Tufton.
Just a forward pivot on that. Just a forward pivot on that, Colin. Are you suggesting that the methodology used by the PIOJ, and this is a question I don't want to put up.
I'm not suggesting that. I am not suggesting that.
The methodology used by the PIOJ and the ways in which they comprise and compute data has changed?
No. What I am saying, somebody, let me tell you how I reconcile it. Somebody is trying to bamboozle the people of Jamaica. The Prime Minister on the 20th of March showed us a graph coming from the PIOJ that says poverty is at 12.3%. And what?
I just clarified that to you. It says PIOJ and World Bank estimates.
Yeah. So what PIOJ gave us, isn't that an estimate, the 8.2%? Is that actual facts? Marlon, don't come here, come try bamboozle the people them. Don't do it. Truth, only truth. Marlon, you must admit that somebody was wrong. The Prime Minister can't give us a graph on the 20th of March that says 12.3, and then PIOJ come now because election come tell me about 8.2. Tell me which one is wrong.
The point is the graph, the footnote, the label to the graph said PIOJ and World Bank estimates.
So which one?
It is for us now to decipher which one of those was the figure used, whether it was from the World Bank estimates.
All right.
So
So
the point I'm making,
it says no, but hold on. But you say it said PIOJ or World Bank. So you know what, Marlon? We are more confident in the World Bank. So I am saying to my listeners and viewers,
confidence in whatever is suitable to your PLT narrative.
But Marlon, the PIOJ can have two set of numbers. Or the PIOJ must have two set of numbers. Remember the PIOJ, hold on. Remember you and the PIOJ, you know, tell this country that the country is not in a recession after two consecutive quarters of decline.
Let me just put a couple of things to you. Do we have a 44% reduction in murders? Yes or no?
I am not sure. And I tell you why I'm not sure. No, hold on. Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me explain that. I am confident that there's a decline in murder in Jamaica. But I want you to tell me about that 490 bodies that the autopsies have not been done, in an article carried by the Observer from November last year to let me finish, man. Let me finish. I'm not finished. To February this year. And I also want you to tell us if since February this year to, let's say, April, how many more dead bodies autopsies have not been done?
All right, my brother, first and foremost, I'm putting it to you, Colin, that at all material times, whether Horace Chang is National Security Minister or whether Peter Bunting is National Security Minister, contrary to what Wilfred Ratigan would mislead the public and suggest, at all material times, you have homicides, well, not homicides, you have deceased persons who identify skeletal remains or whatever, that the police are not yet able to definitively place in a category because investigations are ongoing and something is outstanding, for example, a forensic examination.
I agree.
But what the government, Colin, just pray for me, 10 seconds. What the government has done, my brother, is that on Thursday, the government officially opened a forensic pathology autopsy suite that was not done by your PNP, that was done by my JLP.
But it was not done by your JLP between 2007 and it was not done by your JLP between 2007 and 2012 either.
My brother.
Previous both administration have missed that ball.
That's relax, Colin. on this day in sports, Jamaica is better off from a criminal justice system standpoint and from a law enforcement standpoint because we're now able in greater numbers to undertake pathology examinations or forensic examinations in relation to bodies at a national board.
So it was
that was built by Labour. So you can't do anything about that, my brother.
No, man, listen. Every government must do some work, Marlon. So we don't have a problem with the government doing some work. It's our taxpayers' money doing that work.
Colin, is take issue with the official statistics in the country. You can't do it like that, my brother. Unemployment is at record lows. The NIR is at record high. We have a 68% debt to GDP ratio. By the end of the current financial year, this financial year, we are slated to finish debt to GDP even lower.
I'm challenging you, Marlon Morgan, that poverty now is higher than it was in 2016. I am telling you that.
To your own opinion, but not to your own fact, my
but
brother.
we and Henry is not entitled. We and Henry is not entitled to two figures. Which one is right? So if we and Henry 8.2 is right, then the Prime Minister must come and apologize to us for what he gave us in March 20.
I'm rejecting your assertion because
you're going to reject it.
My brother, the measure of poverty, it is not for Will Federatigan, Jeffrey Tavares.
You're talking to Colin Bell.
The measure of poverty in the country is for the competent authority because we are a nation of laws and of institutions, not of men.
And if you're a nation of laws, hold on. If you're a nation of laws, tell me about Donovan Williams hiding the fact from the Companies Office of Jamaica that he was holding shares for somebody else. Tell me about that. The law was passed in 23. Let me finish, Marlon. I will allow you to speak. Let me finish. I will allow you to speak. The law was passed in 2023 that nobody must hold shares in secret for anybody because of the FATF law. Tell me about Donovan Williams holding shares for somebody else.
I'm going to say two things on this matter. I would implore Colin Bell, Donovan Williams, and any other Jamaican or any person in our jurisdiction to comply with the laws of Jamaica. And I would advise and encourage all our law enforcement agencies, if they detect anything that is untoward in relation to
Donovan Williams is a member.
Take the appropriate steps to enforce the law. That is what I was saying on that matter.
Donovan Williams, hold on.
To follow the law and B, encourage law enforcement to, to pursue enforcement of the law.
Donovan Williams is a member of your party. What actions will you be taking? The party be taking?
My brother. If it is determined that Donovan Williams is in error and has done something to flout the laws of Jamaica, my position is unequivocal and very simple.
Are you aware that Donovan Williams said that the shares that he had in MedTech was not his?
Because you're trying to pivot and walk all over the place.
I am you see, I don't get labor rights to question often, you know. So when I get you,
what I encourage you to do, go and make a statement to the competent authority in relation to shares and the laws in relation to the Companies Office of Jamaica. I will encourage you to do. But for what I will tell you in the meantime is that Jamaica is better off under this and Jonas Jamaica-led Jamaica Labour Party government, yes?
And I will say no. We never have so much people dying on cheers. We never have so many people dying on cheers.
Does not suggest that.
We never have so many people dying on cheers, Marlon Morgan.
I'll ask you one simple question.
Yes.
Is Mark Golding the beneficiary in part of the gains and proceeds of the enslavement of our Jamaican brothers?
I have no knowledge about that. Is Everett, hold on. Is Everett Warmington? Hold on, man.
Putting it to you this morning that Mark Golding, my brother, to the extent that he is a great grandson of Mr. Levy, yes? Benjamin Nunes, rather. He is invariably a beneficiary of those gains. Some would describe those gains as
let me ask you this. Is Everett Warmington the beneficiary of slavery?
Of what?
Slavery. Everett Warmington, his four parents owned slaves. Is that so?
My brother, remember now.
Marlon, why you can't answer simple question?
Warmington is a black descendants of the enslaved.
And I'm asking
Just like
you,
Colin
hold
Bell
on.
and Marlon Morgan.
Well, we have some information that Everard Warmington, 4 parents own slave. I have a question from a caller. From Obi, go ahead.
Hi, Colin, how you doing?
Morning, Colin. With matters of respect, I was thinking this was a gentleman in court. Don't do that.
No, Obi called.
Joker on the call. I'll be seeing him in the court.
You'll be seeing Obi in the court? Hold on, Obi. Obi, hold on. All right, Marlon.
Respectful exchange.
Yeah, all right. So hold on.
No discussion with Conor O'Brien.
All right, fine.
I'm seeing Conor O'Brien and Jeffrey Tavares in the court
all right,
of Jamaica.
fine. So I'll put Obi on pause. Because I have another question for you.
After all, Colin,
no, one more.
You continue with the program.
One more question for you, Marlon, before you go. The Minister of Health said in the Parliament in the sectoral debate that the PNP, we are dishonest and we are wicked to speak about $23 billion for the Cornwall Regional Hospital. But
the number keep changing. You guys, it's a 28 some weeks.
Hold on a man. We are taught no.
Which is the point. The
no, hold on. But it's not what me say. No. The minister said. It's not what the PNP said. The minister said in the sectoral debate that the PNP we are saying is 23 million. And when asked, he said it's a projection. Is the Minister of Health building up straw men, knocking them out, and setting up a position that at the end of Cornwall Regional, somebody can be a fat cat?
All right, so let's be clear, Colin. Let's be clear. Cornwall Regional was a can that was being kicked down the road from as early as 2006. It is now this government that is once and for all solving that problem. What the minister said in Parliament is very clear and it's very correct. The expenditure on Cornwall Regional so far is in the order of 9 billion and nowhere near the 20 billion that is being banded about.
So who put the 20 million? No, but who put the $20 million out there? It's him. Him put it out there.
My brother.
And I'm going to play the clip.
The PNP, the simple point the minister is making, and I'm reiterating here. The PNP has been asserting a particular dollar figure in terms of spend, and it is not so simple.
Did the minister said the projection for Cornwall Regional is $23 billion? Did the minister said that?
Colin,
yes or no?
Is very simple.
Yes or no?
My response is very simple.
Very simple is yes or no.
We know that the projected expenditure at Cornwall is going to be in the order of quite a number of billion dollars. Yes?
Hey, Marlon, you're dangerous.
Go back to check the records.
It's all right.
Listen. In relation to the projected expenditure.
Listen, because we're going to play it.
Hold on. Just give me 20 seconds. The point I'm making, just to be clear, is that whatever the ultimate cost of Cornwall Regional will be, is neither here nor there.
It is rubbish. Rubbish. What?
Nothing about it.
What? You are telling me that you're refurbishing a hospital with 20 million and it's neither here nor there? Rubbish.
What I'm simply saying is this. Watch me now. Listen me now.
For a country that is broke.
Had existed over several years. So what is here and there? What is very
lick down the hospital and build a new one. You all made a bad decision. You made a bad decision. Lick down the hospital and build another one. They got that suggestion. They got two opinions. One to refurbish and one to lick it down and build a new one. They went with the refurbish and it is costing Jamaica. The minister said the projection is 23 billion.
Telling the story. I want to tell part of the story as it's convenient.
Which part will not tell?
You by way of an analogy. Allow me an analogy.
We don't want analogy. Come with facts.
Hold on. Remember now, the issue of Cornwall Regional pertains to noxious fumes. In other words, a very concerning smell coming out of the central air conditioning.
Anyway, Marlon. All right, finish. Go ahead. Yeah, man, I will allow you. I will allow you. Go ahead.
Okay. So now, there were noxious fumes creating all kind of discomfort and dislocation. They went in initially to attend to that matter. Then when they went in to address issue A, they realized that there was an issue B. And then when they started to pursue issue B, they realized that there was an issue C. And when they started to do issue C, that is what essentially covers a situation where the building
has to
just be demolished altogether and built from the ground up. But what is important, Colin, hospital with the suite of services to be provided. In addition, of course, to a Western child and adolescent hospital.
Hold on, Marlon.
That is all
Hold on.
built by labor, my brother.
Hold on.
Whether Colin or
Rubbish
Colin,
again. Rubbish. The children hospital is a gift from the Chinese government to Portia Simpson-Miller-led administration. Don't come here with your rubbish. Rubbish. And let me say this to you, Marlon. Marlon, hold on. My time. Marlon, my time to talk. My time to talk. And when it's my time to talk, you will allow me to talk. The government made a blunder. They got two suggestions. One, to build a new hospital, lick it down. Two, refurbish. The government went with refurbishing. And as you rightfully say, when you go in and start refurbish, more things start happening. And that is why they were given the option of licking down the hospital, because the expert know that refurbishing, you have no surety. Look like him, Mango. You have no surety of what you're going to find. No, anybody who have any knowledge of construction, go do a research and tell me what would it cost to build a new hospital if it would cost $23 million. But you see these people with their arrogance, that's how they behave. $23 million is nothing because everybody getting fat half of the hog. Hold on for me, caller. Obi. Obi?
Yes, Colin, I'm here.
I don't know where Marlon I'm gonna sue you for, but him saying not talk to him, I'm gonna sue you.
Oh, please. Marlon is a waste. Marlon is a waste of time. I think one of the worst things that I've done in my lifetime is lobby for him to become a senator. You know, there are some things that you do that if you could, you won't basically take it back. You know, I pleaded with the Prime Minister to basically throw him a bone, however late it was in the day. And this is what he can do. They are embarrassment and a disgrace to the Senate. But it's because I don't drink a lot of syrup, I am fine. Colin.
Yes.
Let me say something to you. You heard what Marlon said to you a while ago? That the amount of money that's spent in that Cornwall region is not that neither here.
Yeah, not neither here nor there. I hope Jamaicans hear that. $23 billion, not here nor there.
You need to cut that, Colin. Colin, you need to cut that tape and put stuff here. It's a similar thing. The Minister of Health, Christopher Tupton, said when the microphone was pushed at him or was offered to him down there in LinkedIn, where he talked about the fact that the people at the Boston Children's Hospital will get benefit for the drill. And that is what he was concerned about. Not concerned that the drill that was could ordinarily be purchased for under $3 million. Was purchased for $31 million. This is the DNA of the Jamaican Labour Party, how they operate. They believe that the taxpayers' money of this country is their own, with the fiefdom.
Hold on.
And that is why.
Hold on, caller. Yep.
Hello?
Continue, Obi.
Hello?
Hold on, caller.
That's why I keep on saying, Colin, that as far as I'm concerned, based on what I'm putting up out there on the ground and on here, the people of Jamaica have turned their back on this Andrew administration, and they're imploring Andrew to call the election no.
Hold on, Obi.
Marlon just said.
Obi.
I'm trying to talk now.
Hold on for me, Obi. Caller, go ahead.
Colin, good morning.
I'm fine, thank you.
Listen, it was painful listening all of that rubbish I got from Marlon. Absolutely painful. And when you have people who are aware of what is happening, and you sit down and you listen to that, it just rubs it around me.
Yeah, but you see, I am happy. I am happy when they call, because I know I have the ability to get the rubbish out of them. And
I understand that you're trying to be fair.
But caller, you have a little time, because I want to play this for the people of Jamaica.
I would love to call back.
No, man, you don't have to call back. Or you can hold, because I'm going to play the receipts of Cornwall Regional. Yesterday morning, Conrad, Simon Crosskill digged into it, and I want to thank him for doing it. Listen this. Hold on. What is happening around here? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on the OB. Because I want to play this phone. Simon Crosskill did a good job yesterday morning by getting there. Yeah, man. And digging into the receipts. So here we go. Here we
It's
go.
aspirational. But I was looking back as to why there's this level of confusion. So I found some stories. The price tag for reconstruction of Colin Regional Hospital in Montego Bay has ballooned to almost 200% more than the original estimate, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Tufton revealed during a virtual press conference held earlier today, that's March 7, 2023. He said the tag had moved from 5 billion to 14.1 billion, which is more than, it never said projection.
Right.
Now that's more than 9.4 billion. That's March 2023. April 2 of 2023, so the following month, the current 4.1 billion budget to rehabilitate the Colin Regional Hospital in St. James could increase because of global inflation and other variables. Who said this? None other than the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, said while promising that the work will be completed in 2025. He had said at the time, the timeline for me is not an indicative timeline. I'm holding it as a firm timeline. And I'm saying this in the presence of Minister Tufton and the project manager who are here. It has been long in coming, Holness declared during a tour of the hospital. I reached February 2024. The current 21.4 billion price tag for the Colin Regional Hospital restoration was revealed on February 15 in the estimates of expenditure for the 24-25 fiscal year tabled in Parliament. According to the document, approximately 6.7 billion has been spent on the project, with 5.8 billion projected for the upcoming year. So 5 and 6 is 11, call it 12. The figure just keeps changing. Approximately 8.9 billion for 2 years leading up to March 2027. So they added on for the following year, maybe another 8.9. Another report, okay, so with the price tag for the rehabilitation work of the hospitals now set at 21.4 billion, up from the last estimate of 14.6, there is no certainty on whether the cost will remain the same or increase further before completion by April 2026. Who said this? Vivian Gordon, the project manager in charge of the restoration work. He made that frank admission last Thursday. Now, the first time we heard the minister deny that the project would cost over 20 billion was May 16 last year, when he said that 21 billion was a projection, that it hadn't been spent. That's the first time we heard him talk about projection. April 25 this year, speaking at the reopening of the Mobay-based hospital's administrative block, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Tufton confirmed the project's updated cost at 23.5 billion. This figure includes general consumption tax, equipment upgrades, and the relocation of some services. So is there any wonder why everybody is confused as to what the real cost is?
No, with all that receipt, yeah? Hear what the man say in the house. Hear what the man say in the house now. Hear it.
Now let me just state categorically that I regret, and this is sincere, I regret the inconvenience caused by the time it has taken to reopen the Colin Regional. I am indeed sorry that a solution could not have been found earlier, and I genuinely say this. I, however, reject any notion that this was either deliberate or based on anything untoward. all efforts were made to do the right thing, and today we are doing the right thing, Mr. Speaker.
But hold on, you went based on incompetence.
Reject this mischief that this price tag is based on some cost overruns. Let me just outline. The government has so far spent more than 9.4 billion on Cornwall Regional Project, not the 24 billion. As a matter of fact, every time I hear opposition member reference Cornwall Regional, they move the figure from 23 to 26 to 27. So let me just say, up to now, up to this point, we have spent $9.4 billion, 620 million on professional services, 5.8 billion on works, 235 million on medical equipment, 2.2 billion on the operation of temporary facilities, which needed to be put in place to deal with the persons who are in the facility and subsequent treatment of others, and close to 524 million on support services. This involved, by the way, to date, this is important for the record, Mr. Speaker, this involved some 35 contractors, as I understand it, with a procurement process that at times involved 5 to 7 months to reach a decision. The much talked about 23 billion price tag is a projection. Yes, it's by us, a projection, but we haven't spent it as yet. And we are not there yet.
Hold on now. You hear all these people devious and wicked? The man just admitted, the $23 billion come from him. What a wicked set of people. Go ahead, Obi, and let me go to the caller. Yeah.
Let me say this to you. Here what happened. One of the things that we're doing, we're quite discerning, and we are able to see through heading thick concrete wall. What is happening right now? The government of the include Jackson and Moreland, they recognize that the tide is changing or has changed, and a new person will be at the helm of government in the form of Mark Jefferson, Mark G, up to the next election. At that point in time, the material evidence will be available to the government that will be by Mark, and the pen, the receipt will be needed.
Yes.
Therefore, Topton is basically trying to wiggle his way now, because, and the question must be asked, why was their figure given to us as the public? Is it that there are some money that was supposed to be siphoned out?
Then that me said to him, somebody did a plan to get fat off of the hog. So they build up this straw man. And if no problem no come, them go off with the straw. But if problem come, them lick it down. Hold on, let me hear from the caller. Hold on, Obi. Let me hear.
You know, when in recent time, one piece of work at Bunting, former Minister of National Security, has been talking about, rather than a third term, communicating about prison term.
Oh, yeah.
And when you see all of these pieces coming together, then you really know how to start with some credence to it.
Talk to me.
Is it that people maybe deserve of prison term up to the next election and the proper investigation carried out?
Obi, hold on. Let me go to the caller. Caller, good. Thanks for holding, sir.
Colin, thanks for having me. Let me say something to you. You see the intellectual dishonesty in this country.
Yeah.
It's killing us.
Yeah.
You see, Dr. Wayne Henry and Dr. Agent and all those guys that have been here, they're intellectually dishonest. A lot of them, when I hear them, it's an embarrassment for somebody who attended university and know that what they're saying is just blatant lies. Christoph would not last if he was the head of a private sector company.
Long time him gone. Long. Hold on. And let me remind you that this thing started at $2 billion. It's $2 billion it started.
That's the point. So I'm saying to you that if he was in the private sector, he would have been fired a long time, and all his team that he's working with, he would have gone. The last thing I want to say, and I really want people to understand this point, I understand that you want to give them the ear time for them to come on and you try to hear.
Yeah.
But it was difficult for me to listen to what he was saying, because everything that is what he was saying were either half truth or just blatant lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that if the people of this country, especially the young professionals like myself, who think that you can buy a house for 35 million upward, 2-bedroom house that is less than 1,000 square feet, or a 1-bedroom house that is less than 700 square feet for 28 million, and you believe that you should put back these guys all on the eggs to be examined. The people must understand that these guys must not be given an opportunity for a third term. It is blatant that people go out and get rid of it.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the call, too.
One love. And keep opening up the people them eyes who listen to this program, because most of us who listen to this program know that what Marlon Morgan said this morning just lies.
Yeah, man.
True. You have a good day, my brother.
One love. Spewing lies. Obi.
Yeah, Colin.
Hold on, Obi. Hold on, Obi. Hello, good morning.
Hey, Colin Bell.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good in a wagwan.
You know what? You know what is it? No. Stop carrying Marlon on the show, please.
Hold on, I didn't carry him on the show. He called. If you were listening, the phone rang. I took a call, and it was him on the other line. I wouldn't cut him off. No, I wouldn't do that.
No, and I never mean to cut him off. Just for the sake of Jamaican people, stop carrying him on the show, because it's telling be a lie for the Labour Party.
Yeah, man.
Just stop.
But we are going to rebut the lies.
Just stop completely.
All right, my brother. I hear you.
Just stop. For the sake of Jamaican people and love Jamaican people, just stop, because it's defending the Labour Party in everything that they're doing wrong. They're doing wrong.
All right, sir. But he's what you call he's a hard-nosed blinkers on Labour, right?
Yeah, but you know what when he came into power, want to make sure that he sent Andrew Holness a prison.
Well, I am telling you that the forensic audits will be done, and I am just hoping. Obi, yes. When did Pamela when did Pamela said she go and finish that audit at Cornwall Regional? Yeah, Cliff.
I don't
check the spot there.
Am I on?
Yes, Obi. Yeah, man, Obi, you're on. Why don't?
I don't remember the exact timeline, Colin. But let us just say to the listeners here, because we have to be responsible and careful, and don't create a narrative as if Mark Golden take office tomorrow, he will be able to send Andrew Holness or anybody to prison, just like that. We operate with a due student, with a court, and what we should be imploring is that wherever an investigation is appropriate, the investigation takes place, and wherever the facts lead from that investigation, then whoever that person is, they should basically be made to feel the program of the law like any other ordinary Jamaican. So I want to put that out there.
And that is why we talk about the forensic audit. Those audits will be done, and the chips will fall where they may. Hold on for me.
Indeed. So it's not about Mark Golden just put people in prison. We don't have that.
Hold on, Marsh. Go ahead, Marsh.
Yes, morning.
Yes.
Colin, the garbage preparation.
It gone.
It gone?
It gone.
Because Marlon really dumped some garbage this morning. Trust me. But listen to me. Marlon loves to jump out and talk about crime down 44%. Crime down 44%. Flip last year. No. Between now, Where crime is now and where crime was when the JLP comes to power. Which one is them is higher right now?
The crime is still up by about 20% since 2016. Up 20%.
So you're telling me that Marland is their figures, you know. Marland boasting about, you know, they don't go below the PNP figure up till now, so they're not doing anything. And they have record, the JLP has record for state of emergency in the world, you know.
But you see, you realize, hold on, you realize I asked him about the dead bodies and for him to fill me in how many more dead bodies we have between February of this year.
More than Muhammad Ali.
He never answered that, brother.
Let me tell you, Marland is brilliant in talking nonsense, you know. And, you know, one other thing I want to say before I go. Marland love to talk about the urban center in Marandale. I'd like to ask Marland, what new the urban center bring to Marandale?
KFC.
And you can't tell me another thing new that they bring to Marandale.
Burger King.
But I can tell you, they bring problem because they not always dump sewage. Sewage late man, black up, moon base, Pen, Springfield having problem with sewage. After them great engineer do all of them things, and they are planning now to run a pipe across the bridge to put the sewage over to the scheme at Red Hills.
So hold on. So you're saying that the urban center, they didn't build a sewage plan for it?
Pardon me?
They didn't build a sewage plan for the urban center?
They not a plan. They not a plan. Sewage is not a sewage problem. When you get a chance, go do anything and go Springfield right now. And the people that will start tell you they start to have problems.
I will check it because it's like Delroy Chuck in the parliament said a model courthouse was built in Linstead. And when Kemoy McEachran asked him, is there a public toilet there? He said, no. Marsh, later.
That's a model. That's a model.
That's a model. I'm going to talk to Dr. Russell. Well, all right, Marsh, a little more. Obi. Yeah, man, you were saying.
All right, just quickly, because I know you are going to Dr. Russell.
Yeah.
One other thing that I want to say, that I personally took a decision where I advised my producer that since Marland comes on the station that I work on 2 days per week, I believe that for him to infringe on my time, when he has his program on the station, I think that is unfair and unfortunate. So I take a decision that I will not talk to him on my program because of that. However, I believe that another program that he chooses to call in and to participate on, I think that he should be given the opportunity to speak.
Yes.
You are the host must be strong enough to direct his or her program to basically angle. There is a button there that you can touch that if he is don't overload and so on, you can touch him off as well. But I don't think he should be barred from calling.
No, I will not bar anybody from calling my program.
I don't think so. This is how I operate. Fear plays my mantra. Some people may believe that boy Obi is a little bit soft, but that is it. But in closing, I want to just point out something to Marland. To the listeners, there is a truth. The fact is that we don't need to depend on any data. We know that more people are suffering in poverty in Jamaica and this time than they were in 2016. That is palpable. That is out there. All right? So it doesn't matter what Dr. Wayne Henry said. And Andrew Warner's figure, basically in his presentation, I confirmed that as well. Also want to remind Jamaica at this time that the children hospital and adolescent hospital in Western Jamaica, Portia Simpson Miller went to China and received that as a gift. At that time, no less a person than Prime Minister when he was the opposition leader, and for honest, criticized Bosa Simpson Miller, the most honorable, and said that she should not be traveling. She should have Zoom meeting because she was weak in taxpayers' money to travel.
When I
want the people
I told him that instantly. But Obi, thank you. I want to go to this interview now. Thanks much, my brother. All right.
Good.
Listeners, viewers, we have online with us Dr. Kenneth Russell, Member of Parliament for I targeted to being Doc, but the candidate for Southeast Centre. And Dr. Russell is also the Deputy Shadow Minister for Education. Comrade Russell, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I am doing well as it relates to the program and health-wise and all of that. But in terms of my country, I am concerned. Children leaving primary school cannot read and do basic arithmetic. What can go so?
It shouldn't, and we should all be weeping. It's a really sad time for our children. It's not new, but it doesn't make it any more heart-rending.
I believe it's an issue that government policies needs to be put in place to fix it. What say you?
Yes, it has to be, because what's happening, it's like if you have a kitchen and you have all the utensils and all the different ingredients that you need to cook the best meal in the world. And if it's not done properly, if it's not directed properly, you're not going to get the result that you want. And that's what's going on now. So you're going to hear the ministry come out and talk about all these things that they have and that they're trying, and that, but it's not working. And it's a policy issue in the sense that policy has to give direction to what it is that we want and how it is that we ensure that children don't go from one grade to the other, unable to read. Our great-grandparents used to say, going like Johnny Cake and come out like dumpling. And that's what's going on right now.
There something came out yesterday that reading is no longer on the timetable in primary school. Is that so? Really?
Yeah, it's not a subject, right? So you timetable math, and I think it gets rolled up into language arts. And at one point we had reading across subjects, reading across the curriculum across Scott.
Yeah.
But the specific teaching of reading, the way your teacher used to sit with you and help you to sound out the letters and blend letter sounds and so on. Mm-hmm. I think it's been a while since it's been removed from the curriculum, the teaching of reading as a subject.
All right.
That's a mistake that should not have been made, should not have happened, and I'm glad to see that could to be.
All right. So those are the issues. What are the solutions coming from the People's National Party looking to form government within about another 90 days or so?
So for starters, as you said, it's a policy issue. So we have to make sure that we have a clear position on the expectations of schools and the basis on which children are going to go through primary school. So we've been very clear that we're going to invest significant resources in the early years. The foundation, if you don't get the foundation right from the best, you're going to suffer, you're going to struggle, not just in primary, but in secondary and beyond. So for us, early literacy and numeracy, those foundational skills going to be a high priority. So that's going to include ensuring teachers are properly trained to do the assessments and to teach, to do targeted instruction, as we call it. And that will set up the foundation from which we then make decisions about how do children move from one grade to the other. Mm-hmm. If you're not reading by grade 3, there's a strong argument for restricting what we now have as automatic promotion, where you just go from grade 4 to grade 5 to grade 6, right?
Yeah.
We have to make sure that you do the assessment, because at the moment, the assessments are there. I am not convinced, and the evidence suggests that they're not being used effectively to address the issues affecting children. So first part of this then is investing early, making sure children are developing at the appropriate level, assessing them and teaching them according to the level where they're functioning. The second part of this is around nutrition, and we've been talking a lot about the issues of food insecurity in the country. That has implications on how children perform. So you don't want children going to school and don't have at least one solid meal for the day. And so our party has been very clear that when we form government, we will ensure that every child has access to one meal per day. At the moment, we're thinking lunch, but we're also open to, and if resources allow, to expanding that to breakfast, right? And that is not just for some categories of children. This is for all children, because you can't learn on a hungry stomach, and you can't learn if you're hearing your stomach rumble more than you're hearing the teacher's voice in the classroom.
Serious one, that.
No, yes, it's a serious issue. When we went to school and if you're hungry, you probably hide and go get 2 ripe bananas somewhere because I country with it, but that's just not there. We can't allow for that anymore. The third pillar of our policy relates to transportation, and this is both at primary, but probably more so at secondary level. We have a lot of children who are not making it to school on time, or the burden on the parents to actually send children to school is such that they are making decisions about, sending 2 days, sending 3 days. And that is why we have such a very high absentee rate. And so we are saying we will provide vouchers for students to give them that support that they need. The school bus thing is a good thing, and where feasible, we will support that. But if you're in the hills of Mackney or Tidington, right, or Resource in Manchester, you're probably going to struggle to have a bus service that serves those far-flung, hard-to-reach communities. And so the option we're putting on the table is to have it targeted in a way that each child is entitled to support for transportation, and that can be a private arrangement, that can be done with smaller buses and smaller private providers as well. But transportation is critical to us, because if you're not at school, you can't learn. This thing we talk about, time on task. If you're not there, you're not going to learn.
I want to take you though to early childhood education, because I believe that is where the crux of the matter is. Early childhood education. Less than 30% of the teachers in early childhood education are trained. Is there any plans to fix that?
So there are a number of issues in early childhood. You know too that the vast majority of children who are in that infant to pre-primary level, vast majority of them are in community-run or private-run basic schools. Not in the infant schools, which are the government-run schools, and these tend to have more resources. They tend to have more trained and better trained teachers. Now, for early childhood, most of the teachers, they do not have, I think you're speaking to a teaching degree. And at that level, it probably is not as essential as it is at primary and secondary level. But what you want is to make sure that the teachers are sufficiently trained and understand child development, understand how to teach using play-based methods, using approaches that are developmentally appropriate for the child.
But at least, Dr. Russell, some level of training should be, because when I was a little boy, the lady who teach Sunday school would normally run the basic school, and somebody in the community who barely can read and write and run the basic school. Some level, and I'm not saying,
art certificate.
Okay.
We have a certificate from art at level 2 or higher. So that is a fact. But agreement with you, but remember now, you know, we are also facing a bigger issue with teachers. We have a general shortage of teachers across the system.
Oh, yes.
Right? And our teachers, when trained, they become very attractive and they are recruited into other jurisdictions.
Yes.
And we have to talk about how we manage that, because at the moment we don't have a good sense of how many are leaving, what subject areas they are going from. All of this comes after the teachers have left the system, right? If you were to ask the ministry at the beginning of the school year, or even in August, because most schools will want to know who they're losing and start their recruitment with support from the ministry. But the ministry doesn't have this information until the teachers have already left, right? The conscientious teacher will say to their school, I intend to go, and will give them some heads up so that they can start doing some preparatory work for their replacement. But we don't have a sufficient system in place to manage that. So to your point, what you want is to make sure that teachers are appropriately trained.
Yes.
And for early childhood level, a certificate is sufficient. And that's what we want to ensure happens. The ministry and the government, as government, we have to now ensure that we employ enough teachers in those and pay the teachers. Because if the teachers at the early childhood level, most of them are in the basic schools, which, as I said, are privately run or community run institutions. And that's where the big challenge is. We are not paying enough teachers to operate at that level, because we provide one per institution, and depending on the number of children who are there, additional teachers might be provided. But generally it is one per institution. But you would have 2, 3, sometimes 4 classes in those institutions. So that is what we tend to look at, and to make sure we provide appropriate support to those entities.
A direct question, Sir Russell. At what grade a child should not pass unable to read and to do basic math?
Now, every child should read at the appropriate level for age and grade, right? So if you're in pre-primary, you should, let's say for argument's sake, there was identification of letters, being able to identify letter sounds. If that's what's appropriate at that level, you want the child to have mastery according to level. When it's from pre-primary up to grade 3, the child is learning to read, right? And that means you have to give them the support in order to know letters, know letter sounds, know how to blend sound and so on. And then after that, the child is reading to learn, right? So that's the major shift, in that the purpose for which they are engaging with the material is a bit different, but it also means that you have developed the skills that you need by grade 3 or grade 4 at the latest. So that's where you'd want to make sure that the children are reading. But even if the child is not reading at the appropriate level at that age, we can still support the child. The good remedial support, right, can be done at just about any point. It's more effective earlier. But if you know, we saw the case of Pembroke Hall.
Yes.
And we know of other schools which are struggling. We can put in place interventions to support those children. A major problem some schools are facing is that they still have to try and complete everything that's in the curriculum, right? Now, if you're not reading,
go ahead, finish.
If you're not reading, you might then, you know, it doesn't make sense for you to have the child focus on geography and social studies and all the other subjects if you're not able to read.
Because the question I am asking, Dr. Russell,
is to strip down the curriculum and focus on helping that child to develop mastery in reading, so that they can then access the other subjects in the curriculum.
Because the question, what I'm thinking, why put a child in grade 5 who can't read at grade 4? What, how does
Why
that
put a
work?
child where?
In grade 5, when they are
Oh,
at
yeah.
grade 4 and can't read and do basic mathematics, why should that child go to grade 5?
So you earlier I made the point that we have to end automatic promotion.
Right.
Which is part of the problem. Because you actually make the problem more severe by simply moving the child from one level to the other. Because some of the problems we see at secondary is the result of the children being frustrated because they can't access, what is being taught. And so, they feel it's psychological as well, because after a while your confidence falls to the point where, you do the things that get you what you think is positive, is attention anyway. Not necessarily positive from our view, but to the child it is, because that's the best that they can do. So
and as you say, when a child get to grade 5, they're supposed to be reading to learn, not learning to read.
Yes, they should have already gone now to that point where they're reading to learn. So what we are saying, with all the assessments that are in the system at the moment, remember, we have the grade 1 individual learning profile, which is a profile of where the child is coming into grade 1. So that guides the teachers in terms of how to teach the children.
Mm-hmm.
We have the grade 3 diagnostic, we have grade 4, and then PEP grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. All of these are assessments which should help us to support the child in the areas that they're struggling, right? So done well, and I think if we take advantage of the summer, we can help children who are struggling so that they don't move from one grade to the other, unable to read.
Dr. Russell, I want to thank you for coming on this morning to shedding some light on the plans of the People's National Party to fix issues like these, because we need to have a literate society so as to have a strong workforce, that people don't just work minimum wage, but earn a livable wage that they can live comfortable in the country of their choice. Anything you want to add before you go?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, because our policies also extend to the secondary level as well as tertiary level. So just to mention I think historically, people look back, they would know that under PNP government of the 1970s, we were making access to tertiary education free and no cost to those who are attending. We're not going back there in the way we were in the 70s, but what we intend to do is to ensure that every household has access to at least one scholarship for a child to access tertiary education.
Yes.
We refer to as 1 degree per household.
Yes.
Paid for by the state, because as you rightly said, if we want productivity, but in addition, if we want social mobility, for families like mine, a degree made all the difference.
Yes.
Right? Because you become a support to the family, but a model to the rest of children in the household. Mm-hmm. It is transformative. Yes. And that's something that we intend to implement. And so if you are able to get children to go to school, stay in school, learn while they're in school, and then make that transition to tertiary, I think we will see a very different country.
Yes.
I must use the opportunity as well to appeal to communities, because a lot of the issues that we see in schools, we can make significant progress if we have the support of communities, parental engagement in what's happening in the schools. By every research we've seen makes a major difference, right? And so we want to encourage communities to take an interest, get involved, and support our schools, because it matters in many ways.
Dr. Kenneth Russell, thank you very much, my brother. MP candidate for Southeast Centre, next member of Parliament. Thanks, my brother. One love.
Yes, brother. Take care of yourself. Bless you.
Yeah, man. Dr. Kenneth Russell, talking to us about some of the issues we're having in education. We'll now take your calls. 876-804-7072. I believe we have the most arrogant set of leaders Jamaica has ever seen. Out of order and rude. Everard Warmington, trying to tell people, and Marlon Morgan also trying to push it, that Mark Golding parents own slaves. A lot of us not trace our lineage. A lot of us, great grandmother was raped by slave owners. And if we ever trace with bloodline, you'll be surprised. Because I see a man on the internet that do the same thing to Everard Warmington. And the man say, Warmington granny did own 18 slaves. Hello? So I don't know if it's true. So when Marlon Morgan asks me if me aware that Mark Golding great grandfather owned slave, me don't know. And me not care. Mark Golding's father came to Jamaica and what he did for this country. If Mark Golding's great-grandparents did own slave, what Sir John Golding did for this country would have been reparation enough. Take that to the bank. But $23 billion is nothing. $23 billion no mean nothing. One of my general did a call. Me I go call him back. $23 billion is neither here nor there. What can go so? How much people in Jamaica have I even see 23 million? Much less 23 billion. Hey boy! Head boy, don't move. Hold the line. Don't move, head boy. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Colin. You know, one of the things that is so sad about our education system in Jamaica is that the government is not giving the schools the resources. That is one of the issues that the schools are having.
Are you a teacher?
You have exams or tests that is supposed to happen next week.
Yeah.
You have teachers sending to parents to say that they need contribution towards printing test papers. It can go so.
And we have and $23 billion is neither here nor there. Jesus Christ Almighty, me not call your name in vain. Did you hear Marlon Morgan a while ago?
I heard him, but you see, it's good that they're talking. So
yes.
People like you can refute what they're saying for others who are listening and don't know that what he's doing is spilling talking points. And the talking points don't make no sense because that is not the reality that people are living.
Hold on. You're a teacher?
No, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher.
But you're a parent.
No, I'm not even a parent.
Okay.
But I have nieces and nephews that go to school.
Okay.
I take interest in what they do because I don't want them to be what I see happening in the society.
And you are saying that schools are asking for contribution to print test paper, while Marlon Morgan said $23 billion is neither here nor there.
Okay. Colin, let me tell you, for my niece and my nephews that go to school, everything that they send out, the parents send it to me, and I have it. One of the messages says, I'm going to read it for you now. Yeah. Hello, parents. Contribution towards printing test papers. That is the topic. I only heard from 3 parents in grade 4 and 3. From the class exam papers are not printed yet. So please make every effort to contribute what you can. Exam starts next week.
Thank you very much, Carla. Thanks for calling.
Some of these parents are poor. They can't afford the money to pay the bus fare to them. They can't afford for the food, for the lunch.
Yeah.
And on top of that, no, they must be printing things. The school print. Children can have tests. It's crazy.
All right, Carla. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Head boy, unmute for me now.
Yes, teacher.
Wagwan.
Morning, man. I mean, this is really shocking. And to hear tough con, right? Because I don't think it's tough con. It must be a tough con.
Tough con, man.
Con on region. this Cornwall Regional is a bad, you can't sell it. Not even a blind man, you could go to Cornwall Regional and say, and show him, and him don't tell you that him don't sense or even see that something is untoward in what has happened.
Hold on.
When the 23 billion became a projection.
Hey, Ed boy, the man them build up a straw man, you see? And the man them say, yo, Cornwall Regional, food of eat. Cornwall Regional, it will cost 23 billion. Now, if it finish and cost 15 billion, somebody will get fat. Very fat. You understand me? So, that's how I see it. That's how I see it.
We shouldn't be having, Colin, we shouldn't have been having this discussion, you know, and I tell you why. When they first projected Cornwall Regional at $2 billion, and you pointed to the report which said they had two options, either to refurbish or to knock it all down together. They took the option which saw more monies being funneled. Yeah? They took that option. And you are telling me when you reach 1 billion down the road, you know, say, no, I don't think we're going to be able to do this. Let us not waste any more money. Let us go to the route of refurbishing. That's what they should have done.
Yes.
But it was not in their interest to build a new hospital because they couldn't get the money from the new hospital.
The amount.
Yeah?
They could have get money, but the amount that you'd get from a refurbish and the amount of excuse that you'd have to.
You can give.
Tala.
So the narrative would not be able to sell. But let me tell you, when you look at it and see how disgusting they have been, in the same period, Cornwall Regional has been virtually out of commission. You have the parishes of Hanover, Westmoreland, and even as far as St. Elizabeth that uses Cornwall Regional and Trelawney. And you are telling me that you didn't take it upon yourself to say, okay, we're going through this long, delay. Let us go to these 5 parish hospitals and improve the services and even add on to some of the services offered there in the interim. And actually could be a build out so that when Cornwall Regional goes back into operation, it is only dealing with more serious cases.
Yeah.
They have done no improvement in the local hospitals. In fact, in St. Elizabeth at the Black River Hospital, where you used to could have do diagnostic tests and different things, people have to be traveling all the way to Montego Bay to do tests. Yeah.
Hey boy, I have a message in the chat room that I want to read from Sandra Richard Samuels. And Sandra said, look at the lady who lost her leg on the GLP rally truck. Her false leg was fitted at Mark's father's facility in Mona. And at the same place the lady get therapy. So when I talk about what Mark Holden's father has done for this country, someone will go shut up.
But Colin, you heard this song, you see the song? And I want to say to the PNP, they have created a creative genius in this song which they sing that marching, we're marching.
Oh, marching on to progress, cause we care not what the labor rights do or what they say we are. It's our original PNP song, that said, we're going to fight the labor rights and to set Jamaica free. We are blood and fire comrades. Yeah, we march. Hold on, let me hear a show man. I say, hold on. Me hear my brethren. I say, show man.
Show up.
Power.
Show up.
Power.
Rubbish, you have gone right in that toxic. You are the Prime Minister, you have to talk about next 3 months time. So, 90 days. You know when we are calling election?
When?
You know when?
All me know, let me tell you what me know. Andrew in the garden, hiding from Marky G. Andrew in the garden, hiding from Marky G. Andrew, where art thou? Andrew, where art thou? Andrew in the garden, hiding. I don't again there hiding. Eh?
You look at Shaka.
Show man. What I serious dude.
We see them ready,
But we're going to surprise you.
Hold on. On a serious note now, though. $23 billion neither here nor there.
Only this is 3 trillion in this now. We take back on the talk.
$3 trillion still unaccounted for properly. It's still not accounted for.
Oh, no, brother, I just talk, you know. But we're not listening to the talk, I'm going to black talk now, go nowhere.
All right.
All the one that burn, me here come and tell you rubbish a while ago.
What kind of rubbish?
I mean, rubbish a brand they want to come and tell you.
So when me ask you...
We love taking me in, you know, because we have planned for, you know.
All right, my brother.
We have planned to go on a heart attack, you hear?
We have planned for you too. We have planned
you know what's last night, dear boss? Nobody know that the chicken back piece last night. Yes, it's empty.
We never see it.
Empty. You have to look at Friday night time, man.
All right,
chicken
brother.
Back piece empty.
Me I go down there on Friday night, go eat some white chicken back too. Because you know have a steak, you know. I don't have the money to buy steak. You hear Marlon Morgan say $23 billion neither here nor there. Later show, man. Yes, Ed boy, unmute, please. Now, Ed boy, I don't know if you heard Delroy Chuck. Did you hear Delroy Chuck saying that the civil society groups are playing politics?
Yeah, but don't. I keep on telling you, poor Delroy. I see a video with Delroy walking in the constituency. And I had to say to myself, why is Mr. Chuck doing that to himself? The man is one. Apparently, he's not so functional mentally because the garbage that we're hearing from Delroy Chuck these days is not the Delroy Chuck we're used to, and I'm not disrespecting Mr. Chuck.
Well, it's pure garbage me hear from Delroy Chuck because me hear Delroy Chuck say a model courthouse is in Linstead. And I hear Kemai McCrackran, the host of Morning Agenda on Power 106, ask the man if no public toilet did and the man said no. What kind of rubbish? Hold on, Ed boy. Hold on. Hello, good evening. Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
You know, Mr. Bell, when we look on the whole thing, you think we know that in our 1 year our corruption under the mina?
I agree with you. We do know.
We don't know nothing, man. If you can see the level where the man has got through, for the public to know the corruption. They might take billions of dollars taxpayers' money and pay people to say what they want them to say. Because nobody people around there chat now, people we think have integrity, people who have a career, people who used to look up and and look on them twist where they twist now. Look on the thing where they come out and say.
Yeah, they have lost their credibility, my brother.
Man, I'm going to be on Jackson all that whole other little group. I have a little moral still,
Yeah, Diana, hang on.
The rest of them, the shield and the whole of them, me all Jason Mackay yesterday on the radio.
Well, me not listen.
Them all right, man?
Me not listen to Emily no more because Emily disappoint me. I love Emily. I love her investigative instinct, but me no listen to she no more, brother, because she lost it.
When Nigel had walked back, I should tell you that Nigel a creme de la creme of finance.
Sure.
With one bag of crown in it.
All right, my brother. Enough respect here, sir.
Man, them both things we not hear yet, man.
But it all come, though, It all come, believe me. All right. Yes, Ed boy. Sorry about that.
No problem, brother. But as I wrap up, because I know other callers want to call.
Yeah.
Right? Colin, we have to, when I see the waves, the orange wave across Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
Yeah? And this orange wave is no joke. And the JLP knows, base for base, they cannot beat the PNP. Base for base, they cannot beat the PNP. Yeah? So we want to say to the comrades that every single one of you on election day must go out and vote. And as Colin said, walk with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So each of you must walk with at least 2 persons on election day with yourself. because it is going to come down to the basis of the party and the party that is able to bring out the majority of the space.
I have a little disagreement with you. I think this election, I think a good 30% of that 60% who don't normally vote are going to vote. And I want to say to all PNP workers and supporters, you know the people who don't normally vote. They are angry and they are upset. Go find them. Walk with 2 or 3 of those. Go vote on election day, because this election, more than any other, is about rescuing Jamaica. Because when you hear garbage, like a man I tell us, $23 billion is neither here nor there, then you have a caller who call and tell you that schools can't find money to print paper for exam. And we know, like Darrell Vaz said, there are people in Jamaica who have more than 1 child that can only send 1 to school and the rest have to stay home. And yet, $23 billion is neither here nor there.
You know, Colin, it is typical of the JLP. It is typical of the JLP. And let me tell you, if the JLP was so confident about winning an election, why wouldn't they call election?
That's what I call a long time. You see the man them call it in a COVID because them see the winning a COVID and say, yeah, we can't miss the opportunity. Hey, but hold on. But you hear the Prime Minister I think I don't want to send Elizabeth. Him say now call the election until him sure him can win. That will never happen.
So that means
you will never win this election, Prime Minister. So we have to say, you know, call it. Well, maybe the Governor General going to have to call it.
Well, let me give your listeners a hint, Colin, and yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I have been listening to certain labor rights speak. Yeah? Mark your word. Androlis is going to the wire, and he's going to call election. The election is going to fall on the same day that it fell on, the last 2020.
Is what at September or 4th?
September the 3rd.
The 3rd of September.
Yeah.
So you say a dung them ago.
That's going to be election day.
Well, if I dung them ago, he might get it down there. And if he call you up at July, he might get it same way.
Him going to get it anywhere him run go. Him going to get it.
Yeah, man.
But if you look at everything that they're projecting, you realize that July is a special month. Yeah?
Yes.
You think them start cut ribbon yet? You think them start fool people and break ground? You wait until it's July. Yeah?
All right, my boss.
So they're anticipating that month will bring them favor. But all we can say is Jamaican people have made up their minds, and you can't fool them with breaking ground.
All right, my brother. Enough respect. 804-7072. That's 876-804-7072. Let me try and return some of the calls that were coming in while we had a guest on. Because on this program, we talk to everybody. You know? We not block nobody from this show. We not take nobody call. We want to talk to everybody who have something to say to us on Portland Spice TV. Everybody who have an interest in the running of Jamaica. Everybody who have an interest in seeing Jamaica doing well, because this is our island home. And I'm still calling for my brethren, Blazer. My brethren American named Blazer. Me hear him on a program say if we vote out the MP of East Portland, we are ungrateful. Blazer, I'm begging you, sir, to call me and tell me what it is that this lady have done for the people of Portland for us to be ungrateful to vote her out, because we're going to vote her out. We are voting her out because we have not seen anything significant from her. We're going to vote her out because we don't hear the plans that she have for East Portland. We're going to vote her out if she don't debate Isaac Buchanan. And I am ready to host the debates. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Good morning. Wagwan.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So, the Prime Minister, so them not gonna win. They're not gonna call it.
Well, him say, the Bible say you must call your election sure. So he must be sure before him call the election. So even with the blue dot poll, we give him a 4% lead. Him not call it.
So, you know, him not going to see me here, him not going to win, you know.
That me just said that will never happen. Him not going to be sure.
Yeah, so when I say him not going to call it.
No.
Or him only live in denial and take a chance.
Well, make the Governor General call it. We.
So, him not going to wait till him court date.
That is another piece of argument. That is another. Hold on, they're doing up. Hold on. Morning, welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Morning, Mr. Bell.
Hold the line, I'm coming right back to you. Yes, my brother. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, what I say? Ignorant, arrogance, and ignorant. And going back to the slavery days and racism and colorism.
That them I deal with now.
And gone so low. Right?
Yes.
And gone so low, then gone back to the slave days. Just to win.
Them a gravel.
And we don't think we're civilized enough and more from that.
Well, them a grab on for anything they can grab on for. You know. Hold on. Hello, good morning.
Morning, is that Colin?
Yes, this is the Colin Bell Show. Can you hold for me, please?
Will do.
All right. Yeah, my brother, them a grab on for anything they can grab on for, you know?
Yeah, and them have a thing, them they on social media, I say, RTG and 32 bank account.
Well, it's one thing I can tell them. Mark Golden statutory filing have been certified. And a summary has been made public. Go look for it. Don't make nobody fool, you know. But Mark G have how much whatever. Mark Golding statutory filing have been certified every year. You have 2 party leaders in Jamaica. Only one is certified to lead. The next one is not certified to lead. And if you're not certified to lead, you shouldn't be allowed to lead. Thank you, my brother. One love. Respect. Yes, ma'am. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. You're live on Portland Spice TV. Please subscribe to the channel.
Right. I listen to your shows on Saturday morning.
All right. Let me just hold on. Let me just acknowledge this call and come right back to you. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, Colin. How are you?
Junior, I'm going to ask you for hold on. I'm coming back to you. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Right. I was saying that I'm listening to your shows on Saturday morning because I find them very useful.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
I hope more people will tune in.
Yes.
I haven't been able to tune in early. I just came on, so I don't know what went before.
Oh, God. Marlon Morgan come here with one heap of garbage, mama.
There. I suppose we just have to be tolerant.
Yes.
All views.
Yes. All views content.
Right. But I just want to use this opportunity to big up 2 Jamaican ladies. One is Danielle Archer.
Yes.
One is Jackson Miller.
Yes.
I heard Alice's an interview and analysis on YouTube by Deacon about bias with regard to, what I'm referring to.
Dennis Strong, yes.
Right. It was a beautiful analysis and I'd like to recommend it to people. Very balanced.
Yes, I listen to it. Yes.
Right. Very unemotional, just rational.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'd like to commend Dion on that analysis. Yesterday afternoon, I heard Daniel on Dion's program Beyond the Headline.
Well, I played it here earlier, and I am going to play it again.
It's beautiful.
I must play it again.
That young lady is brave, extremely brave, very forthright in what she's saying, and not allowing her to be intimidated by status or power. I was really proud of that woman yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what Minister tried to do was to discourage civil society groups. Because without civil society groups,
Listen, man.
they are one of the checks and balances in the society.
But you heard Delroy Chuck in the interview said he used to be a part of civil society group. And I bet that is when he was in opposition. So he used them for getting a power. So that's why I must say what him say no.
Right. It didn't come across. From a government minister, I expected a more responsible statement. But I was glad the way Daniel responded.
Yes.
I'm really glad. And as you say, you've said this already.
And I'm going to play it again.
I was proud, very proud of the young lady. Don't know her.
And you know the good thing about it, she came with some receipts.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, man. You know, you should tell him, say, look at the trend of your government. These are the things that you have been doing. And we see a dictatorship coming. And I am saying to the Jamaica people, run from this Labour Party fast. They are trying to turn this country into a dictatorship. They are trying to silence contending voices. Once you don't agree with them, you're bad mind and you're PNP. All when you have no affiliation to no party. Once you don't agree with them. But I want to thank you for your call, ma'am.
I'm really glad that there are people like these two young ladies can come across with balance too.
Brilliant. Yes.
All right?
Thank you much.
Good. Okay.
Junior.
Yeah, man.
Chat to me.
All right. The crisis in education, we start talk about it Wednesday.
Yes.
Or we never go foreign.
Yes.
Pembroke Hall, people might not know, is the center of St. Andrew. It's Northwest St. Andrew.
No, I want to repeat this again.
It was Nigel Smith now.
Oh, the man who won it. Right. The man who has been sued for 20 million.
Thank you.
Talk to me.
So if you have so many kids in that area, functionally literate, remember, you know, I like capital grant about, you know.
Yes, in a country.
So if you know, get the figure for what go on in the country, you realize the seriousness of what go on in education.
My God, my God. We need a Damian.
Other thing too.
We need a Damian Crawford.
Any child going to school now, whether high school or primary school, is one government has been in power all through them school years. So any result you get now is a result of government policy.
Junior.
It can't be nobody else who ain't blaming them. It's for them fault.
It's 10 years straight plus they have gone 14 out of the last 18. So anything wrong about Jamaica right now is the GMP's fault.
Right. And the other thing too, you might not know who took reading out of school.
Yes.
It's Colin Royal.
Some years that is cruel. Take reading out of the timetable.
Just look at the irony of it, Colin. Royal Reed was a principal of a school. Principal, you know.
Yes.
Which means he should have first-hand information of what he get in school.
Yes.
And he take reading out of the school.
Well, there are some friends of mine who said to me that PNP's ideology is to give people land to the landless and to uplift the poor. But the GLP ideology is to keep your duns so that them can work them technology by you.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Remember that, you know, the government, the Labour Party started Bustamante saying that education can, you know.
Tell her.
And they remember, you know, Buster said, him don't want to hear about no scholarship, he want to hear about sugarship.
But as you mentioned Buster, and I said to Jamaicans a while ago, they must run from the GLP. I want to call all Rasta to the front of the class, Junior. Because I see some Rasta, me have one brethren named Night Hawk. We say my Rasta. And I see some Rasta, I run up and down back a Labour right. Let me tell you this. No Rasta or dreadlocks can be a Labour right. If you have on here and not up, and you say Labour, you are a dread fox. No dreadlocks. You are a dread fox or a rascal. Because a dreadlocks cannot sing. Remember, Bustamante serves us well. Bustamante said, bring in all dread. Tell me what Bustamante said, Junior. Tell me what Bustamante said.
Bustamante said, bring them in dead or alive.
Who we must bring in?
Look like a billy goat. Bring it in dead or alive.
What?
anything that look like a billy goat, bring it in dead or alive.
Tell
What man the street can hold,
who?
I will.
Tell her. And who did I talk about, Junior?
The Rasta them, the dirty Rasta,
And
as in call them.
and they beat Rasta and kill Rasta. Marlon Morgan, that is the legacy of the Jamaica Labour Party. A party that beat and kill Rasta. Say, bring in all Rasta. You're talking about the legacy of the PNP? That's the legacy of the Labour Party.
Remember one more thing, you know.
Tell me.
When you're talking about education, you can't put labor in that same sentence, you know.
No.
You ever look how labor are thief? Labor are thief without mercy, you know.
No, you
labor
can't.
are thief 25 school.
Tell her. Junior, all people thief school.
Me don't know.
Then what kind of
thief a whole school?
What kind of argument
25.
Oh, you mean?
Thief 25 school in a Colin.
How so, Junior? What can go? How so? Top spread propaganda upon the Labour them.
You ever read the DaCosta inquiry?
The DaCosta inquiry. Tell me about it.
Try read the DaCosta inquiry, shows that investigation is what took place between 1962 and 1972.
Tell her.
And when you read that inquiry, you hear that in 1967, 50 schools were donated to Jamaica and they only built 25. 50
were donated by who?
By the United Nations.
And only 25 was built.
And they only built 25.
And where the next 25 go?
In their pocket. I know where you use GPS to try to find them or we can't find them.
Hold on. The DaCosta report. DaCosta report. God, me have to find this myself. Me not believe you a liar, tell.
Yeah, man. The DaCosta inquiry, the investigation into the term of office from 1962 till 1972.
Hold on. What you have say? I Bixby, can you find the DaCosta report?
I ran into a problem.
Or Bixby says she ran into a problem. But it's the DaCosta inquiry, not report.
Yeah, man, DaCosta inquiry, sorry. DaCosta inquiry.
I Bixby, bring up the DaCosta inquiry for me.
I didn't understand that.
Bixby a joke, you know. It's all right. Me I go find it. Junior. But thank you for your call, my brother. You have something else?
Yeah, I think before we go away.
Yes.
Remember, you know, we talk about labor rights and peace. They walk hand in hand, you know.
How will you say?
You know, see a man thief grass yet?
Mombasa! Tell her! Mombasa! Tell her!
No, when a man can thief school, and then he thief grass, and then he thief molasses, not molasses, something that we saw at the food them room. Fertilizer.
Yeah.
Right? And we thief food that people go eat. Nutribone and milk. And we turn around again and you thief what medication for people. It's a current situation you talk about, you know. And people talk about labor. Me hear your friend come on this morning and talk about labor good. And talk about 40,000 jobs are missing. Businesses closing in the 90s. Where it come from? The 40,000 business closed in the 90s. And the economy grow by 3.some%. And we get rid of IMF. Who do you think you must talk to? Sometimes it's so unfortunate we have to listen to the people that with their smart brain, you know.
We have to listen to them and hear
The
the
only
lies.
reason why you listen to them, Colin, we know why, you know. Because you're a very religious man. And the Lord said, must be kind to dumb animals. That's why I listen to them. We talk, yeah?
Junior, there's a saying that when we are playing domino, you know, and you beat a man, you know, you say you're not a wicked to dumb animal when they lame. OB is saying that the caller is right, but we are going to search for that DaCosta inquiry 19. Hold on, is somebody finding us any already? Hold on, let me see something. Martin Henry. Hold on there. Because it look like somebody finding us any already, you know, boy. You think for me listener then normal? Martin Henry, Rural Bank, school corruption, expatriate teachers. What is not this? Pieces together. What is not this? This is 1970. I had come to Morantby High School in the 70s with common entrance examination passes. Well, I'm not sure if I hit this, but I would have to go through it. But I promise you all, if you did not hear Delroy Chuck and Dean Jackson Miller yesterday, here it is. Up. Here we go.
You've been repeatedly referring to, for instance, Dr. Phillip, the opposition, and so on, but both our major civil society parliamentary watchdog groups, NIA and JAMP, have also taken issue with the recommendation, saying they don't think the reasons that have been given stand up to scrutiny and that the Auditor General is better on or off. Have you taken note of those concerns?
With due respect, I think they're ill-informed and not only ill-informed, but again, I mean, when I see NIA talking about tyranny, I just dismiss it totally. Because how can the removal of the Auditor General be a matter that is tyrannical? And I don't see any connection, John, but I don't know why this is being made an issue. I think it's just being made a political issue because of the season we're in. And it just shows, with due respect to the civil society, where they stand, they want it to be a political issue. It is not a serious issue. Removing the Auditor General, and as I say, put in as one category a chartered accountant or a senior attorney at law, because at the moment, to the best of my knowledge, we have had chartered accountant Eric Crawford, who served, was a chartered accountant, and at the moment, I think we have a retired banker, who I understand is also a chartered accountant. But we can make it definitive that a chartered accountant should be one of the commissioners.
Isn't there a danger, though, when, for instance, listening to what you just said, listening to what some of your colleagues have said, an attempt to undermine and discredit civil society groups simply because they don't agree with government positions, because that's what that sounds like.
With your respect, they discredit themselves. I don't have to discredit them. What they say, how they say it, discredits them. And that is why I rarely respond to the civil society group. Unfortunately, I have been part of it in the past, but in these days, there are no civil society groups. They're really political groups, with due respect.
Listen there to Justice Minister Delroy Chuck talking about the criticisms of the government members' vote on the Joint Select Committee over seeing the review of the Integrity Commission Act. Have voted to remove the Auditor General from the Integrity Commission. We did ask the opposition members on the committee to talk to us. They both declined. They're on record, however, as not supporting the vote. Let's take the break when we is. Bishop Christine Gooden Ben-Gouche, the JCC, did issue a statement earlier today on this matter, calling for this recommendation not to be implemented. And we have with us as well Daniel Archer, Principal Director of National Integrity Action. And we thank you both so much. We appreciate you talking to us. And Daniel Archer, let me start with you. The Justice Minister is saying it not pay on mind because all you're coming at it from a political angle, he says.
You know, when I heard you say that, I could only think of the reality that I stand on the shoulder of somebody's Gabby, who was deemed an enemy of the state for promoting the rights of Black people. History vindicated him. I'm sure history will vindicate the many civil society groups here in Jamaica, because it is the norm for government and political actors to discredit civil society, to weaken scrutiny when they're on track to becoming an authoritarian entity. Globally, civil society organizations frequently encounter such accusations when they expose corruption or advocate for human rights. So I have no difficulty with him disregarding us, but I will tell him and tell all persons who believe that all civil society groups in Jamaica are merely political actors. Simply because people don't agree with you doesn't mean that you are to castigate them as being a political entity or that they're biased because you refuse to listen to what they have to say. Our job and our mission is to hold you accountable. When you are doing things that lack transparency, that are corrupt, and that enables the powerful over those who they are supposed to serve, you will hear the voice of civil society. If you want to demean them by saying that they're politically biased because they oppose you, well, recognize that's the first step towards having a tyrannical regime. Mr. Chuck, as a justice minister, ought to know that. And he's quite aware that when political groups are biased and they hold a political aligned position, then they're happy with that. They're certainly not happy with those who oppose them. And we will continue to hold their feet to the fire when they fail to keep their promises or when they fail to do things that hold their governments accountable. That's my answer to Minister Chuck.
In relation to the issue of tyranny, the story that was carried in the Gleaner, I think it was earlier today, Mr. Chuck says he doesn't see how this particular development could be regarded as being tyrannical. How?
And I will say to Mr. Chuck, let's have a look at your pattern. Let's look at the things that your government has been doing. You promised an impeachment bill, but when it was convenient, you said it wasn't relevant. You promised that you were going to be able to hold your own persons accountable for corruption, but rather than doing that, your leader has taken the Integrity Commission to court. We are going to put it on record. You have yet to provide us with a code of conduct. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs had indicated that it was going to be presented, it was the cabinet. We haven't seen it. So you don't want anything that holds you accountable. When civil society groups call you out, you say they are biased. You scrutinize people who call you out and who oppose you. And there are a litany of things that you have closed the doors on because you refuse to have the public understand. Where is the review for the, what we call it again? That particular act that allows us to get information? You were to review that, but you didn't do that. You promised to repeal the Official Secrets Act. You didn't do that. You're spending all your time tearing down the Integrity Commission only because you have members of Parliament who are implicated for illicit return and you do not want them scrutinized. Are you really going to tell me that you're not moving towards a tyrannical regime?
Let me bring in Bishop at this point.
Hallelujah. Stand up. Willow.
Yes, well on, Colin.
Why am I there?
As an educator, you know.
Yes.
I decided that I will chime in this morning.
Yes.
But I want to do two things. I want to point out to parents right across Jamaica that the article that came out last week about Pembroke High, it is not a reflection solely what is happening at Pembroke High. Literacy is a problem right across the spectrum of the education sector. And it is this literacy issue that is affecting the outcome right across the education sector as it relates to other subject areas. Hello?
May I hear you loud and clear?
I want parents to understand that their children value more than a vote within an household. So therefore, if it is that when your child couldn't go to school, I couldn't reach home back from school, your member of parliament or your government didn't put anything in place for your child to go to school to learn. But because election is coming, they come now, I want to ensure that your child who is now 18 is on the voters list so that they can count that individual as a part and parcel to their ultimate target. You have to take a stock. Mr. Bell.
Yes.
The reality is, if we should look over the last maybe 20 years, there is no other sector in government where we can identify the leakage of funds, like what we can do from the Ministry of Education. Yet still, we have several schools who don't have adequate equipment, insufficient classroom, hungry children, on a daily basis. We have schools that were damaged in the last hurricane that is still not yet worked on.
Oh, yes.
Because it is not political prudent to do so.
Talk to me.
And we have to get to the point where we recognize that the operations of a country goes beyond a PR exercise.
Talk to me.
So when we hear people coming out and say no other government has spent the amount of money we spend on roads, school, health sector, listen, if the populace is educated, they would know that that would have to be so. Yes. Because 20 years ago or 30 years ago, the US dollar was 5 to 1 or 4 to 1. So therefore, your spend would have to be less. So if you are now at 160, you must be spending more.
And maybe still getting less. That a lot
I'm going to show you how we get
less.
less.
For people to understand that.
I live in a community where, as a little boy, there was an ambulance station in the health center in my area. And that ambulance used to move around in the community and pick up sick people.
Yeah.
And take them to the hospital. That doesn't exist anymore. And listen, we are in the era where the largest spend is.
Yes.
I can tell you this. The number of non-readers in school now maybe is similar to what was there in the ending of the 60s before the Jamal era.
It get that bad, brother?
It is that bad.
What you say to me?
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something as an educator. You see those pet numbers that you hear the boast about?
Yeah.
Not even teachers understand what the PEP scores mean. You know what I tell you? The way how the ministry compute those scores. You know, if you ask the average teacher, what does a 320 in English means? They can't explain that.
Yes.
So when they come and they tell you that no student is at this level and no student at that level coming from the primary system, when you examine and you give those students basic arithmetic and basic reading things, you say then how is it they say that these children are at this level and they can't do these basic stuff?
I heard a young man at the town hall meeting in Senton called the People's Forum. He said, yes, like yourself, he's a math teacher. And he said, Jamaicans, you need to look at this. If your child come home and say that they get 90% in English, and when you go to Sunday school, the child can't read a Bible verse, something wrong.
No, but we have worse than that. We have students passed in English who cannot write a proper paragraph. And I'm not exaggerating. And they have a passing grade.
Or the pass.
Anybody, and I can tell you this, if somebody dispute that, they don't know anything about what is happening in the system.
So how they pass?
How? It depends on how they just. I want you to honestly speak to somebody. Somebody is honest, who have experience in marking those exams, and they tell you how the exams are marked, and what they look for, and how those scores are computed.
Well, I know somebody who used to go to Barbados to mark English.
Yes.
Know somebody very well. We used to go to Barbados to mark. I don't think that not no more.
No, they mark locally.
Yeah.
No, they don't have to go overseas to mark anymore. But what I'm telling you, is that even in mathematics, in terms of number sense,
yeah,
if you can speak to children who have good scores in maths and number wise, they can't relate anything what the average person in the market can do, or a butcher can do or a man who sell board, you know.
So them SWAT and pass the exam. But
The
in
thing
terms,
is
but they
so
can't apply
clever,
it. They can't apply it to every day.
in terms of using the knowledge to be functional in their everyday life.
Yes.
That not exists. That is a missing component
And
of
that,
what is
and that
within
is,
discourses.
and that is why, Wilson, you have so much people who are suffering, but they still tell us, yo, my government are the well.
Yes, because guess what? Remember, you know, the reality is there are some persons who will tell you that things are not right, but I am not supporting the other side. And you said, but if things are not right, it's a reason not to support the side that you're on.
Yeah.
And they say, no, but I can't support the other side. I can't do that. So they are willing, listen, and that is showing, you know, that their education is not really, they are not using it in a way to better themselves and their community.
Not at
because
all.
If anybody in their right mind, you know, can sit and want to tell you that an hospital that was supposed that started at 2 billion and end over 20 billion and want to justify that to you and for you to accept that and say, yes, it is okay. Something is wrong with you.
Yeah, man.
Something was wrong with you. And you see, let me tell you something. I hear some people in and I watch them on social media and they constantly attack NGOs and civil groups that speaks about injustice. I want to say something this morning. The remit of an NGO or a civil group is not really to support the government, you know.
No.
It's not what they're about.
No, that's not their mandate.
Listen, it's to hold the government accountable.
Yes.
Now, if it is that the government view, if the NGO group or the civil society group is that of the opposition, it doesn't make the civil society
political.
View political, you know.
No.
It doesn't make it political.
No.
It doesn't. And so when I hear reasoning like that, I said, no, but something is wrong. Because the fact that I recognize I don't support the view of Andrew Only, that doesn't make me a PNP.
Not at all.
And that is the view. We have this thing going on now, where we have only two views. It's either you are PNP or you are JLP. Rubbish. So that is why they want to lump all the NGO and the civil society group and saying that they are supporting the PNP. They are not doing that. They are trying to protect the government from leading us down the road of being a dictatorship. And listen, I remember, you know, Colin.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You remember when Crystal said it and the media came down on her when she was running and she had to retract that statement.
What did she say? I don't remember.
He said that what Andrew Holness was doing reminded her of when Hitler was preparing himself to do what he did.
Yeah.
And what happened is that the media came down on her saying, no, that is over the line. No,
the media is screaming. So the media
is
screaming like a pig now.
I remember Diane Jackson Miller as one of those persons saying that it was an overreach and to lighten what was happening to Hitler was not a true presentation of what was happening. Now she said it was on route 2. If we are going to be honest now and we watch all that is happening,
before down the road,
we accepting that what even the now is talking, you know.
Yeah, man.
Because the reality is, you know, I hear people saying that protocol was followed as it relates to Mr. Trump. But I want to remind the masses that I remember my lecturer, Stephen Vassianic, he lectured me at UWI.
Yeah.
When Bruce Golding did not like him as the choice that was chosen to be, was it the Solicitor General at the time?
I don't remember. I don't remember what Vassianic.
Yes, man. He got up, yes. And what Bruce Golding did, he fired the entire service commission. He fired the service commission. Now, we need to remember this. Even though the service commission is a group of persons that should see to it as it relates to nomination for senior posts in the civil service. Remember, it is the Prime Minister who recommended those persons.
Yes.
And therefore, you cannot divorce the interest of the politicians, of the Prime Minister from those individuals. Because me and you know that if we should check the history of those persons who are, we have ex-Prime Minister's wife among those group, and those Prime Minister or Prime Minister of the party, of the Prime Minister's party. So what are you going to tell me? The Prime Minister is going to select persons to put on such a committee that are known members of the PNP? Hell no. It doesn't work like that.
No, no.
It doesn't work. So let us not try to fool ourselves and bury our head in the sand that when Mr. Chung was appointed, it wasn't because of the wishes of somebody above the Services Commission.
Well, they couldn't appoint Mr. Chung if the Prime Minister never wanted. He could not.
And so drawing and hiding behind how it was the political appointment, it was done by the Services Commission. Who instructed the Services Commission to remove the requirement of the law enforcement experience?
12 years in law enforcement and 5 years at a senior position.
I am not of the opinion that the Services Commission took it up on themselves.
They couldn't.
To say, no, this is not necessary. So we are going to throw it out. Hell no, that did not happen.
Could not.
Instruction had to come from somewhere to remove that. And if instruction come from somewhere to remove that, it is reasonable to assume that it must be, that instruction would have must be in the interest of somebody.
Of course.
And I am led to believe that that person would have to be Mr. Chung, because Mr. Chung would have fit the other bill, but wouldn't have fit the law enforcement bill.
Right. So like Raymond Price said, the job was tailored for him. The requirements.
That was because listen, Colin. They could have appointed him without changing the requirement, you know.
Yes.
But if they did that, they would have to come now and answer that question.
Yes.
So what they did was to go take out that from it and send it out there, so that when we look on now, we can say, but, well, that is no longer there. So
no, hold on. Them never did even expect nobody to go look and see what it was before. And that's why I warn these politicians. This is the digital age. Analog politicians will not survive because the information is accessible to all of us. So somebody went and looked and said, hey, but this change.
But what they did in Colin is in moving it, they can now have a discussion and look at you with a straight face and said, well,
it was not
that was no longer a part of the requirement. And so we breach no rule in appointing him.
And when we ask why it was
ask for an explanation,
them say go to the Services Commission. They say go to the Services Commission. And that's one of the things we should have asked Marlon Morgan this morning, because he's out there defending it as well.
No, but listen. What we need to understand, you know, and we need to remind a lot of persons, especially those persons who like to use social media to actually put out a lot of things. Because you see, what social media has done, you know, it has defined the individual for a lot of persons. So there are a lot of persons who will think we're much smarter than what they really demonstrate by the things they post on a daily basis. They recognize, oh, but this person is really so smart, you know, because when you look a lot of illogical things that person is actually feeding on. Feeding on and feeding on, putting out. But, Colin, we need to remind Jamaicans that we operate in a democracy.
Yes.
And what a democracy does, it gives us the opportunity to question our government about the decisions that they make on behalf of us. Because we are the individuals who actually put them in power. It is not, we don't put them in power to suppress us, to the point where we have no talk, no say. That is not our democracy, right?
No.
And I believe if it is that the Services Commission or whosoever instruct them felt that their 12-year law enforcement experience is no longer relevant, we as a people should have been provided with an explanation so that we can look and see how they operate and say, well, that is reasonable. So let us accept this. But to let it, we just talk and they just behave as if.
Yeah, man, it's about dead. But Wilson, we are going to run here.
It's about dead.
The people in the chat room are saying you must call more often and they want you to call on a Tuesday and a Wednesday evening too.
Those are days. But to me,
it's 4 o'clock we start Tuesday and Wednesday.
Usually I'm still at work those times, but I'll try it again.
Holiday come still, so we will have more time.
But I can't shout there.
All right,
listen, I have an interest in education.
Of course.
And how politics affects education, and how we can use politics to use education to get better from our politicians and let the people, the masses, understand politics from a new perspective so they vote
accordingly
using their head.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, my brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Viewers and listeners, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you have not yet become an ambassador by sharing it to all the contacts in your phone, all the contacts you have, please do that. Thanks for making it Portland Spice TV, the Colin Bell Show, for yet another Saturday morning. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet again Tuesday evening, 4 p.m. One love, my people. Thank you for watching. Please remember, like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, send the channel to some people. One love.